This novel's story goes like this. One day the world undergoes a great upheaval. Suddenly towers and dungeons appears, and monsters comes out of it, making the world fall in chaos as the monsters starts attacking humans. The peninsula of Korea was hit especially hard. It was notorious for the endless spawning of towers and dungeons. And the monster attacks were also stronger than any other country. It was complete hell. But only in dark can a brilliant light be born, as the lightning strikes the attacking monster. The parent and her kid looks in relief as a hand is forwarded towards them. And the light in this novel were called heroes. With their power, Korea started to fight back against the monsters, and the towers and dungeons were slowly brought under control. Companies started using the cataclysm as an economic opportunity and started to recover from the situation. And as the time passed, together with the heroes, South Korea became one of the world's top superpowers. It became a country where heroes from all over the world gathered. And to combat the increasing monsters and dungeons, it created the world's best hero training center with the top magic and magic engineering technology, which was called Cube. Heroes from all over the world gathered in Cube, beating the intense competition. There also exists a main character in this world to save the world, and also a rival to contest with him. Up until now, it was an overview of this world, and the reason I know it because this world wasn't made by a god, it was made by me, the author. However, there is a problem. We see an announcer calling out the first-place cadet of the first year, Kim Soo-ho. The world which our author wrote starts to unfold right before his eyes. Seeing Kim Soo-ho's face, he gets sure that it must be the world which he wrote. He starts to wonder how all of it happened, but he is suddenly overwhelmed by the comments of everyone around him about Kim Soo-ho. He notes that he can hear everyone talking from afar, as above the stadium, someone is praising their lineup of cadets for this year, calling them outstanding. Especially Kim Soo-ho, as he is just 17 years old. Kim Soo-ho is also the main character of this novel. The one who will lead this chaotic world, which will be controlled by either a monster or a hero, and he has a hero's kind and righteous heart. Also a special secret that he never reveals to anyone. The author notes about one other guy coming up in the second place. It's a white-haired, golden-eyes dude, Shin Jong-hak. He is also the Jin-Sung Corporation's fourth-generation owner, and he also has the potential that could match the main character, but he is a villain in this novel. As in the future, his inferiority complex towards Kim Soo-ho will turn him towards evil, and they would oppose each other like light and shadow. Seeing them two standing over there like this, our author is once again sure that this the novel's world. But then he starts to wonder about his own identity. If he is someone in his novel, he should have a name. Suddenly someone taps on his shoulder asking him to not space out, and he calls out his name as Chun-dong. Though as his face, we see a question mark. He asks the other kid if he called him, which he did as who else is named Kim Chun-dong here. Hearing that name, he gets shocked and wonders if someone was there from this name in his novel. Since he doesn't remember anything about him, he wonders if seeing his face could make him remember something, but he is only able to see a question mark, which freaks him out and surprises him as well. As this was the point he realized that he was turned into a character he never wrote about once, no set appearance, an old-styled name, and a faint existence, with no one paying attention to him as he has no face. And even in Cube, he is the ordinary out of ordinary, a character that won't even interact with the main characters. A character just to fill up the audience seats. He is a novel's extra, a speck of dust in the novel. One day he received an email, which he wondered what it could be about. We see it's a remake offer for his novel, and learn that our MC has put his novel, The Returned Hero, on hold due to falling into a slump for the past half year. He finds the person behind the email odd due to wanting a remake of something that's been put on pause. He stares silently at the email and decides to reply, because of the guilt he felt for putting it on pause and because he thought it was a request from some weird fan. But that response became the cause of it all. Back to the present, our MC washes his face, as he is finally getting used to it after 2 whole weeks. And for this whole 2 weeks, he has been wearing this face with question mark, and realizes that it's in fact not a dream. This world is also from the novel he wrote, and Kim Chun-dong that he possessed is one of the many extras in the novel. He also tried to find out who put him in this world and why, using all sorts of methods, but in the end, he did not got any answer. Now due to which, perhaps he has to stay in this world for a while. And if this world continues until he stopped writing, it would be about 10 years. Realizing that, he gets scared thinking that he would be stuck in this world for 10 years while mingling with a bunch of teenagers. And he really does not want to get stuck in a suspended novel, as he has a life outside as well. He calms himself down and tries to think of a way back home. The only one he can think for now is to catch up with the main story, and to hold on until the middle of the story, after which he stopped writing. And for now he decides to simply endure in this world of a novel. And to do that, he has to attend this school, Cube. It's a man-made island located near the East Sea, including the future hero cadets. About 50,000 people reside here. It's a modern city concentrated with the world's magic and industry skills and talent, and its existence is why Korea is considered a superpower. It's the heart of the city, and as well as the main stage of his novel. We see him arriving at a huge building, which is the Hero Training Center of Cube. Out of all the students training to be heroes with their special skills, called gifts, only the top of the elites are qualified to become Cube's cadets. And the body he possessed is also a Cube cadet, though he does not know what kind of skills it possess, but assumes it to be something as he was able to enroll into Cube with it. And whatever it might be, he hopes that it's something useful for surviving in this scary school. He enters his class, which is Class Veritas, the center of the Cube arc. The good and the evil characters, the supporter and the rival, and the main protagonist of the story, all of them are here. All of these characters will form cliques soon, which will become a cause for many things. And to spend 10 years with these students, for him things are not looking good already. Now fast forward to evening, as he is walking towards his dormitory, without even knowing how his day went. And right as he is monologuing about his high school, he stops in the middle after noticing something. We see it's a delivery for him, which he starts to unbox. He wonders if it's Kim Cheon-dong's personal stuff, and gets shocked upon seeing its content. It turns out to be his laptop from his old world. In shock, he wonders why is this here, and it starts to boot up. It initializes synchronization, and a bright light flashes from it. It's actually synchronizing Kim Cheon-dong's character with Kim Hajin and downloads all the settings as well. He starts to remember that these are all the settings that he wrote. He tries to reach out to it, wondering who is doing all this, and suddenly an overlap over his character starts to appear. The synchronization gets to 99%, and the question mark on his face starts to break as well. His laptop also shows him that he has learned a unique authority, setting intervention. The glass hiding his face starts to break. And soon enough completely shatters, revealing the face of our MC. And as the synchronization completes, all of his stats gets resetted. He looks at his laptop screen, his real face. Seeing the notifications around him, he starts to wonder what is happening and wonders if it's enlightenment. It's an awakening that happens when you go beyond your limits, and it's called enlightenment in this world. And when it happens, all of your skills, gifts and abilities becomes digitized so you can see them and you can become much stronger in more efficient way. In simple words, it's a status window. He starts to look at them one by one, firstly synchronization and reset, which stands out the most to him. Though he is not sure what it means, but due to he got his face back from a question mark, and compared to Cheon-dong's abilities, he is very weak, but instead he got points. And the next thing that caught his eye was setting intervention, which he wonders about. Hajin realizes that he does not remember writing any ability like that, and wonders what does gaining more importance mean here. Suddenly, he realizes that perhaps it means that he needs to become more important in this novel. And the reason for why they gave him this notebook and strange ability is because he has to interfere in this world's main story. Just as he is trying to dismiss it all as bullshit, another notification pops up, this time about some undisclosed information. He gets pissed, knowing that if he wants to find a clue to return to his original world, he needs to be obedient and intervene as told. He calms down and sits down, as even if he don't do anything and wait until the novel finishes, there is no guarantee that he would return to his original world. And even if the undisclosed information turns out to not be a clue, he might get a clue somewhere to escape while getting involved with the main characters. And if he wants to do that, he needs to get stronger to endure the main story. In his novel, the concept of leveling up does not exist. You cannot increase stats as you like, so the only methods is points, a very valuable commodity. And to use them most efficiently, he decides to invest in luck. Luck is not limited to probability of finding an unknown reward in dungeon, earning money, bonus stats, interpersonal relationship. It's a scam-like effect that takes effect throughout daily life. And invariable stats like luck cannot be raised with points, but it might be possible to convert his points to SP. As such, he gives it a shot and invests the SP in luck. And right after that, he gets a notification that a mysterious luck is in effect. And such the effect applies to the luck stat itself and increases it by 0.1%. And since the protagonist, Kim Soo-ho's magic power is around 9.0, Hajin thinks that he has pulled off something amazing. He decides to invest rest of the SP into perseverance, since he would need it to endure the boot camp training. And due to his high luck, his perseverance also gets a bonus increase. Suddenly he is met with a warning, stating that from now on invariable stats cannot be modified with SP. Hajin gets annoyed and calls it quite petty, though he somewhat guessed that tricks would have its limits, but he is thankful that he was able to at least modify luck and perseverance. He suddenly remembers that he also had another 10,000 SP from novice consideration. He starts to think on where to use that as well, but ends up putting it on hold and think it through a bit more before using it. Now in the classroom, the professor commends everyone for the morning training and introduces himself. He introduces himself as Kim Soo-hyuk. He would be in charge of them for the next year. Hajin notes, ranking points, 3850, world ranking, 9737, an upper intermediate grade 5 according to the association's classification. Professor Soo-hyuk gets straight to the point. He warns them that Cube is not as fun as they think. The absolute indicator here are their grades. Without them they will fall behind, and statistically less than half of Cube cadets will graduate without being paid. And as this institution trains heroes, they will judge them through a precise and strict criteria. He then orders everyone to follow him, as the first schedule is deciding their main weapon. He puts his hand over the lock and a gate opens. We see they have arrived at some kind of armory with bunch of different types of weapons to choose from. As they all are frozen in awe, the professor yells at them to hurry up and choose a weapon that they would like to use. And once they have chosen their main weapon, they won't be able to change it for the next 6 months, as such they should be careful in choosing them. We see bunch of students choosing their weapons such as bows, rapier, etc. Hajin observes that the main characters have chosen their weapons without any problems and realizes that it's his turn now. And since his current stats are not enough to wield weapons used by cadets, he has to be careful in choosing. And if he raises his stats to wield these weapons from now on, it would decrease the efficiency of his investments, so the weapons that he is able to use will have a few conditions. He looks for a weapon that he already wielded in his original world and something that he would be able to adapt to the quickest. And as he chooses his weapon, a student notices it. Everyone starts commenting that if he is picking that for real, and the professor is also shocked upon noticing it. He confirms with Hajin if this is really his weapon choice. Everyone starts to stare at Hajin, and the professor asks that he recalls he used a sword at the military academy. He simply replies that he decided to switch. The professor simply agrees while saying that a cadet makes all the choices at Cube. Whether it's a good decision or not, a cadet must take all the responsibility for it. Though hearing all that, he is not fazed in his decision. He starts hearing everyone mocking him for picking that weapon. But Hajin explains that even in this world this weapon is good, at least for those who cannot use magic. The bullets often used in this world are called magic bullets, because they are infused with mana. They have much more power than a metal bullet. However, even these merits, the main reason people neglect these weapons is because they have clear limits. The first reason is that no matter how strong the wielder is, the damage it can do is fixed. The second reason is, guns have shallow origins and barely any history to them. This world is made up of legends and mythology. The artifacts from the legends and myths actually exists, and the deeper the origin, the higher the weapon grade is. That is why the cadets favor old, prehistoric weapons over modern weapons, that trust their own skills instead of relying on magic bullets. Even if they hit their limit, they borrow the power from the armament to go one step higher. Though for Hajin, he thinks that it all has nothing to do with him. He does not consider himself some main character, he has never touched a sword either, so he won't be a match for other cadets. Choosing this weapon might not be too bad of a choice for him. He can use it immediately, and just by using it, he can gain SP from standing out. And since he has chosen his weapon, it's time to get his gift. It is an ability that could very well be called a superpower. Usually, only one gift is given to a person, but there are few exceptions. The holder of a gift that has yet to be manifested, and the one that has already manifested the sword-sink gift, Kim Soo-ho. Soo-ho, upon noticing Naeun, asks if she is here to train as well. She replies, why else would she be here, but Soo-ho asked since there aren't many people here after classes. And upon seeing her, Soo-ho also remembers that there is another sharpshooter in their class, hearing which, she realizes it's Hajin, on whom for some reason she is annoyed as well, prompting Soo-ho to ask her on why is she making such a face. She replies she cannot call him a sharpshooter as he can barely shoot a range of 1 kilometer, and she assumes that he has given up on becoming a hero, and if he drops out in the middle so it won't go on his records, so he must be stalling. Hearing all that, Suho tells her to not say such stuff like that easily. Naeun gets confused by it and Suho is standing and smiling nicely. She shouts at him to not nag at her and he apologizes. She tells him to leave if he is not here to train. Outside, Hajin seems to be listening into their conversation, wondering if someone was talking about him. Fast forward, he is again in front of his laptop, thinking that since Kim Suho was able to become the greatest hero with just one gift, it would mean gifts are really important, and the first gift writing gives 10,000 SP, which he cannot miss. He first writes a simple gift, which consumes his 10,000 SP. The gift also edits itself on its own, which surprises him. And it's usable on all ranged weapons, meaning not just firearms, but bows as well. It's also a growth-type gift. It may be bad right now, but it can be raised, making it much better in the long run. As such, he decides to go with it. With that, he feels ready, as now he has to survive with this gift from now on until the main story ends. Now, next day in class, the teacher is explaining about the towers and dungeons. While Hajin is thinking how few lines he scribbled without much care has ended up in a textbook, and if others knew about it, they would shed tears of blood, but for him he is breezing through the lecture thanks to his observation and reading gift. As its name states, he can observe everyone in his field of vision, and can also read the settings chronological timeline on his laptop without any intermediary. Naeun is sitting all quietly through the class, and the teacher finally ends her lecture. And just as she leaves, she throws a tantrum of not being able to show any practical skills and only reading theory all the time. Suddenly a guy comes and tells the whole class to report to the plaza in 20 minutes. Hearing that, she gets excited, unlike some students. The student also informs them that it's for practical training, annoying Hajin. Since everyone knows on what type of content this class will cover, the professor moves on with announcing the teams first. Each will have 4 members, 2 warriors, 1 sharpshooter, and 1 supporter. Unless there are special circumstances, these will be the team until the mid-semester exam. The teams also have been mixed with high and low-ranking cadets, so that there will be no issues, and he finally tells them to find their teammates. Seeing his teammate, Hajin is in shock, thinking that there is no way he can be on team with that person. We see he is in the same team as Yoyonia. Everything is as per the novel. There are numerous lead roles that exist to interact and clash with the protagonist to lead the story along. But among those lead roles, Yoyonia is definitely special. She is the top favorite to succeed Korea's top guild, Essence of Straight, and also a successor of the reputable Yu family. In the first half of the novel, she clashes with Kim Suho, but eventually she becomes influenced by him and becomes a strong supporter. Which makes connecting with Yoyonia very important, as he can get more SP as he become more involved in the story. Hence, Hajin decides to make sure to grab Yoyonia's attention during today's training. The rest of the team greets Yonya, Jin Hosung and Hazuki. Yonya is annoyed and thinks of the dialogue choices in her mind, and decides to greet them gently and talks very formally with them, making them feel weird since they are the same age. Yonya looks for the last member, and Hajin comes along while calling himself out. She asks for his introductions and Hajin knows that she hates people who aren't confident. But suddenly the other members jump on him, asking about the weapon that he chooses, while informing him that he is famous within first year for choosing that kind of weapon. The professor comes behind him, asking if they really free enough to be chit-chatting here. They get scared, and the professor tells everyone that the coordinates of the monsters that each team will fight has been sent to their smartwatch and orders them to move quickly. Hajin teams arrive at some beach location as they are making a run towards the ocean. Yonya tells them to get ready as they will be arriving soon. As they are talking about the monsters' information, Hajin is running behind them and is already tired. And even though he is sure that his stamina stats are above average, all he can do is just keep on their tail, making him start to wonder if this is the average standard of a cube cadet. They finally stop as Yonya states that they have reached. It's the training zone of the 8th coast. And the monster that appears here, Black Hump Octopus. And as it appears, Yonya immediately starts their strategy meeting. The low intermediate grade monster, Black Hump Octopus, the main body's attack power is not very strong, but the problem is the humps on his head. When it detects danger, it shoots out baby octopuses from its hump to attack its enemies. Not only does it shoot out dozens of blood-sucking octopuses in one go, each baby is very dangerous because it can turn normal humans into mummies in a second. Hosung adds that once the battle starts, they should prioritize the throng of baby octopuses first then, and since there are dozens of them and needs to be taken care of quickly, Hazuki suggests Hajin, since he is the sharpshooter. But Yonya replies that she will handle them, and orders the warrior to stand back and preserve their magic power, since they need to cut down the black hump octopus in one hit because it has strong regeneration abilities. Hajin is a bit surprised and assumes that perhaps she is trying to exclude him from the training. She starts to leave while asking if everyone is ready. And without listening to Hajin, she commands to begin the operation, which annoys him. The octopus completely destroys the boat. And Hosung is on land trying to attract his attention towards him. As the first thing they need to do is to lure him to the shore. The octopus notices him and goes underwater and rushes towards him. And as it surfaces back up, Hosung starts running, while Hazuki and Hajin gets ready to attack. And at last Yonya also appears with her main weapon, a whip. The octopus starts attacking with his hump and launches baby octopuses onto them. Hosung starts sweating, noting that it has already started exploding. We see all the baby octopuses are coming right towards him as he is trying to run away. Suddenly Yonya appears and takes care of all the baby octopuses. Seeing the power of Yonya, who is ranked 7th in cube, Hosung is left in awe. He thanks her and immediately runs away, leaving her on her own to defend. As Yonya starts using her whip again, the octopus gets agitated and attacks her. But she dodges and jumps up in the air, but gets attacked by a baby octopus in mid-air. Hazuki shouts at her to watch out, but she is late to notice as the monster gets too close. But Hajin shoots the monster and saves Yonya from it. She is surprised that the one who saved her is none other than Kim Hajin. SP can be exchanged for stat points, and increases when Hajin's importance rises. But for extra like himself, it's difficult to attract much attention from the start. Hence, the only other option he has left is to intervene in the protagonist's stories. Just like he did right now by saving Yonya, as it made other members of his team shocked as well. Yonya tries to lash out at him about her order to stay back, but is cut short as the octopus launches his attack once again. We see tons of baby octopuses coming for them again, and Yonya gets nervous seeing them. Hajin tries to calmly assess the situation, counting their number to be only in tens, and since they have low intelligence, he can clearly see their attack paths. Hence the point at which he can perform the best is right now. He starts using his gift, Bullet Time. It's a gift that he created. When used, it slows time for 3 seconds. Meaning for 3 seconds, he can clearly see all of their movements. After that, it's as simple as to shoot these baby octopuses. We see the countdown going off quickly as Hajin keeps on shooting as well. And finally, as the countdown ends, all while Yonya is looking back towards Hajin, all the baby octopuses are defeated. She is quite shocked, and the hump of the octopus is exposed. She quickly makes use of this opportunity and grabs it using her whip while telling everyone to attack. Both Hazuki and Hosung jumps over to attack and uses magic liberation. And as Hajin is defending Yonya, both Hazuki and Hosung lands a powerful blow to the octopus. The octopus finally falls down after that attack and Hajin asks if it's finally over. Yonya silently glares back at him, and Hajin lays on the ground, claiming to be all exhausted. Their clear time starts getting calculated, and it is 58 minutes and 58 seconds, ranking them on the 16th place. Seeing their team's ranking, Yonya is quite shocked. Their battle was also recorded on a video through a drone, and the footage will be sent to their smart watches so they can analyze them on their own. Fast forward, and she is quite disappointed by her ranking, even though she knows that everyone will be graded individually. She is also jealous of the fact that Chai Naeun has scored higher than her, which is rank 4 out of 100. While staring at Shin, she thinks that she wanted to make sure and split up Chai Naeun's family right from the start, but if this is all she could manage, how can she even imagine winning? She observes that Shin is staring at Naeun while smiling. Seeing this, she gets pissed and slams on her desk, and gets up while approaching Naeun's desk. But suddenly she hugs her from behind with excitement, a stark change in her emotion. She asks him about her battle and Naeun replies that they are only in 4th place, unfortunately, and flips the same question to Yonya, who hesitantly tells her that she got 16th place. But Naeun is surprised to hear that since they had a gunman, and she points towards Hajin while saying that it would have been their good luck if that didn't slow them down. But Yonya's opinion is different. She thinks that while it's true they wasted 50 minutes on a route that should have taken 10 minutes to travel due to him, but on the contrary, he pulled more than his weight during the monster battle that followed. The dozens of baby octopuses that monsters shot out were destroyed before they could even reach the ground, which makes her doubt if something like that is possible with regular magic bullets. She starts to get curious about him and wonders, just who is he? Now at the training room, he checks up his alarms to see how much he has ranked up. We see many of his stats increase, especially due to his luck. And as expected by him, his luck was in effect during the training session today, and his SP also increased quite a bit. It was quite worthwhile for him getting himself involved with Younia. The stats also increased quite a bit from exercise, and he is sure that this is all thanks to his enlightenment and luck. He decides to head back since he has upped his stats and have exercised enough for today. Now at dormitory, in Younia's room. She is seen analyzing their training session from the morning, specifically Hajin. She notices that in 2.78 seconds, he shot 60 bullets with his weapon within that time, which makes her wonder if it's even possible to pull the trigger 20 times within a second, or did his weapon have a continuous trigger button? His reflexes are certainly extraordinary, but his health is strangely lower than other cadets, and to change his weapon so suddenly, there are too many strange occurrences here, not to mention she does not remember seeing him at the Agent Military Academy. Suddenly she gets a text from Shin, asking her on what is she up to. She blushes and smiles upon seeing it and replies that she is analyzing the video, making Shin think that she is doing something annoying again. She texts him that if he is going to take over the guild, he should hurry up and analyze people as well. He replies that are there even people on her team? He thought they were all trash, but suddenly he asks about Hajin. She smiles and thinks that Shin pretends to be disinterested, but in the end he was curious after all, calling this part really cute. She tells him that he seemed like someone who could pull his own weight, suitable enough for rank 934. Shin says that perhaps he got lucky. Hearing this, Younia goes silent for a bit and thinks, he just got lucky, in a doubtful tone. Now at Creator's Sacred Grace, Guild Building. A guy informs the vice captain that the guild observation was scheduled on the Friday 2 weeks over. She doesn't pay much attention and tells him to take a look at something, excitedly. We see she was looking at Kim Suho, calling him really amazing, and she is introduced as Yoon Sung-ah, Creator's Sacred Grace's vice captain, rank 307. Looking at his movements, she calls them fluid as water and swordsmanship that does not resemble anything else that exists. It's almost as if he is dancing. Not to mention the extraordinary cutting force, almost as if he is cutting through both the monsters and space itself. Essence of the straight, desolate moon, Frost Sanctuary, she can understand why all the top guilds of Seoul wants him. She also excitedly claims that she wants to bring him here, no matter what it takes. She then moves on to the next cadet, Kim Hajin, and suddenly she notices something. She is quite surprised seeing him use that weapon. Her assistant comments that there were stories about him in the guild communities briefly, and thanks to him being on the same team as Younia, many people have watched this video. He used a weapon that was not automated and shot 60 bullets in 3 seconds. 59 of those bullets hit their target. Even if he were to pull the trigger on reflex, his weapon shouldn't have been able to handle it. Because of the eccentric talent of Kim Hajin that was showcased through such a weapon, internally they are calling him unorthodox. And he has also changed his weapon from a sword to this as soon as he came to Cube, and Sung-ah states that it's enlightenment. It's a phenomenon in which a person realizes their talent. You do not know what talent you possess prior to being enlightened. Because of this, there are rare occasions when people would change their weapons since it would not correspond to their talent. But if such an instance were to occur, it regresses their career by at least 3 years. The Agent Military Academy highly encourages cadets to use a variety of weapons. And to think he got enlightened at 17, it's quite quick, though he does not seem that attractive as it's only limited to that weapon. But she decides to check him out regardless and asks if there are free scouts available, and her assistant replies, there aren't any, since the current leader is so extraordinary that everyone is at their limits. Hence, she decides to leave him be for the time being, since if he is a pearl in the mud, he would surely shine on his own, and they will know if the title of unorthodox is too much for him or not. Soon enough, they will. Now at Wednesday, we see Kim Suho is fighting some random guy. We learn that it's the day for anti-personnel training. This training progresses in groups of 2. All of trainees utilizes training weapons, so it's easier to judge and lessens the pain felt. Suddenly someone shouts out Hajin's name in anger. We see it's the instructor, as Hajin is crying about being the only one who has to go up against an instructor. She explains that it's because the training for firearm has yet to be finished. Using a real weapon in anti-personnel training can lead to serious injuries, and so, just for him, she will face him, and Hajin starts crying that he cannot do this anymore and tries to surrender. She forms a fist while saying that there is no surrendering in real life and tells him to raise his guard. As she punches down, Hajin is able to avoid it. She is quite surprised by it, and while Hajin seems nervous, she once again tries to punch him, but he dodges by leaning backwards a bit. She notices that even though his posture is trash, he is still following her attacks with his eyes. 1,000-mile eyes. With this skill, you can see far away, and you can vaguely predict your target's movements. Though of course, this skill simply shows him, he still has to do the actual dodging himself. Students around mocks him by saying that he looks obnoxious by jumping around like that. As he notices them laughing at him, his SP increases, making him wonder if being indulgent more efficient. Fast forward as the training finishes, he grabs a can of soda for himself. As he turns around, he notices Yunya passing from behind. She silently gazes at him with a disgusting look. As she leaves, he starts to think, even though he was the one who wrote her, her personality is still, and suddenly he gets an idea, and decides to check it out. He calls her out, and throws her a can of cola. She asks him if he is picking a fight, but he replies, he was carried hard in their last fight, so he is giving her this in hopes of getting along. Though it's actually a test, if being indulgent to the extras was enough to gain him 40 SP, how much would he gain if he had a conversation with a member of the main cast? She replies that she is good without it, he can drink it himself, and throws it back towards him. She also tells him to not speak casually to her without her permission, giving him his first warning. As she leaves, Hajin does not say anything. Now while walking, she feels that the weight of her bag is off. She opens it up and sees the can that she threw back to Hajin. Due to his, she gets pissed and calls Hajin an idiot. In anger, she tries to throw it in the dustbin, but stops and puts it right back in her bag while saying, the cola has no sins. We see Hajin is observing her from up above. He explains that she loves junk food such as cola, ramen, and hamburgers, but because of her reputation, she was unable to purchase these foods herself. That was her character settings. He notes that even if he pokes at the character's setting that no one knows about, if it ends up in a short conversation, he cannot earn much SP, and of course he has to squeeze himself into the main story. And he realizes that the next part of the story to start will be that. The Jin attack on the National Weapon Museum. Jin, they are the people who made a contract with the devil. The Jins who exchanged their souls for great power have become the hands for the devil's work and have spread about. This incident occurs with the motivation of assassination of a certain individual at the National Weapon Museum. However, the Jins are foiled by the main cast, who were coincidentally there looking at the exhibits. The main character, Kim Suho, gains the interest of some of the main cast due to this episode. Not only two of the main cast, Kim Suho and Chai Naeun, show up, but since it's still near the beginning, the Jin is not even that dangerous. As such, he notes that he can slip himself into this episode. As he is starting to think for a way to slip into the museum, a teacher catches him standing around and asks him why has he not returned to the dorms as the daily lessons are over. As such, he puts away his laptop to go. Suddenly his laptop starts to act weird and he gets an email from someone. Club. A club at Cube is for extracurricular activities within the academy. It can be thought of as a gathering where cadets would organize independent activities. Academic, martial arts, experimental learning, hobbies. There are over 100 unique clubs within the Cube. And the club activities don't just provide a place of self-development, but also a place where cadets can interact with each other. And the club that Hajin is going to be joining is here. The president of the travel club, Healing Rain, Oh Han-hyun, thanks everyone for joining their travel club. And among their new club members this year, they have a lot of incredible people. And when he received these applications, he could not believe that it was true. He then again introduces his travel club. Their objective is to rest. They would use the portal once or twice each month to travel outside of Cube. And for today's orientation, they would be going to somewhere close. And that place is Seoul. A free and easy trip to Seoul in group of 2, which is just like Hajin wrote in his novel. And for today his objective is the start of the first main arc, the Seoul Weapon Museum. Once he goes there with the lead roles, he plans to slightly intervene in the main story. The president tells them to draw lots, about which Hajin wonders if that's how it was in the original novel, though either ways he plans to move separately. And as Yunya draws lot, it turns out to be Kim Hajin, and they both look at each other with a no shit expression. She asks to move separately with him. And Hajin agrees to it as well, and while leaving she stops in the middle to tell him something. It's that he should not talk to her casually, giving him his second and last warning. Now at the National Weapons Museum, it has the largest exhibition hall of weapon replicas in Korea. As Hajin is moving around, he notices Chai Naeun drooling over a bow. And with that, he remembers that Kim Suho should be around there as well. He approaches Suho and asks if he was looking at the 7-branched sword, and he replies, yeah, and Hajin introduces himself. Suho replies that his name slipped his mind and remembers him for his unusual weapon. Hajin remembers that Suho is strong, handsome and has a sense of justice, and he got cussed by his readers because Suho was not a realistic protagonist. Suho asks him if Hajin would like to go and see a firearm exhibition together with him. But Hajin tells him that they won't have time for that. Suddenly the building starts to shake and the warning alarm goes off. It informs the civilians that monsters have appeared right outside the museum, and their faces starts to turn into despair. It creates a panic and everyone gets in rush to leave the place as quickly as possible. Suddenly we see Naeun breaking the glass for the bow. Seeing which, everyone is surprised and nervous. She tells everyone to calm down, as the museum's reserve hero will be arriving here soon. And if they head out right now, they would just become food for the monsters, and as she picks the bow, alarm starts to ring about glass wall being broken and item being stolen. And this all causes the barricades to come down and lock everyone inside. Naeun tells Suho to hurry up and get a weapon for himself, since they would need to stand guard until the hero gets here. Suddenly she notices someone coming. The person is emitting dark red aura and Naeun prepares her weapon. It's the Jinn, who notices that people are inside already. Hajin explains that it's the demonic human, dog of Lucius, a villain that will become the foundation for the protagonist's growth. It draws its claws and rushes towards Naeun to attack. Right as he is about to make his attack, Suho tries to attack him from behind. Hajin simply observes while thinking that just like in the original story, Kim Suho will take him down with ease. But something opposite happens and we see Suho being blasted to the wall by the Jinn. And as Suho falls down, Hajin is utterly shocked as he tries to process what just happened. Hajin notes that something is off, as the story he wrote didn't go like this. At the start, they get pushed back slightly, but then it turns to a battle where Kim Suho reveals his power and overpowers the enemies, and Naeun tries to call out to Suho with a trembling voice. But he is lying on the ground and spitting blood. Hajin asks if he is alright, but he is unable to even stand up properly. Hajin notes that his condition is not very good and he would need time to recover, but the Jinn arrives and plans to attack them again. Naeun notices and shoots some arrows towards him. But even after getting hit by them, he simply smiles. She tries to shoot more, but the same thing happens again. She gets scared seeing it not doing any damage and notes that it's not any special ability or healing. He is simply standing against these consecutive shots through his grits alone. He gives off an evil grin and Hajin realizes and tries to warn Naeun as the Jinn rushes towards her to attack. As his claws are about to reach his face, Suho arrives and kicks the Jinn away. He asks her if she is alright and she asks the same thing to him. Suddenly they get attacked by its long whips and Suho's attack is blocked by it as well. Suho notices that the Jinn's body has changed its shape. He tries to hold it against him, but the Jinn overpowers him and slams him in the ground. As he is struggling against the attack, Naeun attacks the Jinn from behind. The Jinn looks back towards her with anger, and suddenly attacks her from his back with his energy whips. She is unable to react in time or dodge and gets smashed onto the wall behind. Hajin notices the dire situation and that if it goes on like this, someone will die and he shouts at everyone to get away. Even though he wrote this novel, he is confused as to why is the content different to what he knows. He takes out his laptop and calms himself down and also a bullet from his magazine to try and do what he can. He notes that he cannot make even a scratch on the Jinn using these bullets. It'd be impossible to deal fatal damage even if he increases the destructive power. However, as long as they are in the world of his novel, the big setting should not have changed and in that case, we see the settings of Mana Bullet gets altered. He changes the destructive power and its attribute at the cost of 104 SP and saves it. He explains the reason why this world needs many heroes, attributes and synastry, overcomes the difference in power and allows individuals to display a greater strength. He aims his weapon at the Jinn, knowing that he is of dark attribute. He shouts at Kim Suho, while aiming his weapon, as the thing that exhausts darkness is without a doubt, light. He starts shooting his weapon while telling him to move, his bullet which have been converted into a white light bullet. Suho moves away and the bullet hits right on the Jinn's shoulder, causing an explosion of bright light. The Jinn's whole arm gets blown off and he starts screaming in pain. His grip on Naeun also comes loose and she falls on the ground. Suho also starts to flare up his power and Hajin is on his knees as well, knowing that he has bought enough time. We see Suho is engulfed in bright mana, so is his sword. The Jin gets scared and nervous upon seeing his power. The sword saint's magic power can cut through all things. Suho launches his attack, a powerful cut which splits the Jin in half. He starts screaming in pain and finally falls down, ending the battle. We see both Suho and Naeun panting from exhaustion. Suho comes to Naeun and asks if she is okay, but she slaps his hand away from herself. He silently stares at her and Hajin tells him to leave her alone, and he is sure that her brother will come and console her, while thinking at least that is what happened in the novel. But much to his surprise, we see their reaction is filled with shock and despair upon hearing that. Naeun asks Hajin, on what did he just said, and suddenly she starts vomiting. Now switching scenes, we see few monsters running around outside and a beam of light comes from the sky and pierces those monsters, killing them. We see it's Yoon Sung-ah, who has taken care of all of them. One of the paramedics informs her that the situation outside the museum has been settled. She gets relieved hearing that and asks about the situation inside the museum. He informs her that a Jin appeared but was immediately taken down, and there just happened to be 3 cube cadets there. She commends them and asks for their name. He replies it was Chai Naeun, Kim Suho, and before listening the last one, she runs off. She gets excited upon getting the chance to meet with Kim Suho in a place like this. On the way there, she sees Hajin, calling it perfect timing. She suddenly gets up close to him and greets him. She tries to ask for Kim Suho, but he informs her that Kim Suho is inside before she could even ask. As she is leaving, she suddenly realizes something. It's the fact that he knew beforehand that she was looking for Kim Suho. Hajin opens his laptop outside, as the appearance of Yoon Sung-ah scared him, wondering if this situation is connected to the story changing. He tries to first get things straight. A foreign character named Kim Hajin has become involved, but his importance is insignificant. So far things have progressed without issue, so he considers himself not important enough to influence the story, though suddenly he realizes something important. Something that he completely forgot about. The fact that this novel has a co-author, and this world is the remake version of the novel he wrote. If this world is based on what was written by the person who wrote the email, it makes sense that things that he has not predicted will occur as well. And if that turns out to be the case, it's possible that the predictions he made based on his novel are now useless. Suddenly his laptop screen starts to light up. We see he has gotten a message, one flaw. It says, the protagonist and the characters around him never encounter danger. And if it continues, there is a risk that the readers will tire of such boring repetition. And therefore, from now on, enemy levels will be increased, even if it results in chaos, reading which leaves Hajin in shock. Fast forward and it gets evening and the instructor calls out to Hajin, saying that he has already heard the gist of what happened, and he would ask for specifics later. For now they can head home. Suho asks about Naeun and he replies that she is sick and left with her family, hence they should return now as well. As the instructor leaves, Suho calls out to Hajin. He questions him on why did he say something like that to Naeun back at the museum. Hajin gets confused and Suho clarifies that it's what he said about her brother. And right as he is about to say something about her brother, he gets another email, a point of criticism. He changes his answer and asks about Naeun's brother, and Suho asks if he is pretending to not know about him, but Hajin replies that he really does not, which annoys Suho, and such he leaves the talk for later. Now fast forward and Hajin checks on his laptop about Naeun and her relations and all the other information, though he is unable to see anything new and everything is still according to his setting. Suddenly he notices something in one of the news articles. We see her brother got into a coma due to the Operation Fires Park. Hajin is shocked upon learning that, and wonders just what is this. It was the first opportunity that the main character's assistant, Chai Jin-yoon, received his laurels with, and Chai Na-yoon, who was 13 at the time, was extremely proud of her brother, who had become a hero. At least that's what he set up. Suddenly he gets another message. It's a notice that the message will be provided once Hajin recognizes the modified settings. In the original work, he was the Chai Na-yoon's reliable brother and Kim Suho's assistant. However, we see a scene where Jin-yoon is lying on the ground with blood splattered all over him. It was deemed that the main character had too many assistants, hence the settings has been changed to the words below instead. A point of change: for years ago, Chai Jin-yoon, after being appointed as a hero, got into an accident and received Demon's brand and has become a demon seed. And seeing this change leaves Hajin in shock and speechless. Now switching scenes, we see news playing about the museum incident and how the vice leader of Essence of Straight took care of the monsters, but it gets turned off by someone in the middle. We see it's Naeun, who is sitting all depressed in the hospital. His father comes rushing for her, while shouting her name, and she is surprised to see him as well. She asks him on why did he left his work, but to him she is much more important and hence he asks about her condition, to which she replies that she is fine. He tries to get her to do close examination, but she resists, while saying that there is nothing wrong, and asks him on why did he came all the way here. He replies it was simply because he was very worried for her, and she once again tells him that she is doing fine. She then calls him out to ask something. She asks if she can go see her brother once before she get discharged from the hospital. Seeing her face, he holds her hand and agrees to it. Demon seed, demon, the higher entity of jinns, can brand human to turn them into a demon seed. Humans that have turned into seeds enter an incubation period where they bud and blossom into strong demons. And in his settings, the incubation period was set up as 5 to 6 years, and half of the time has passed already. And now Hajin can only think of one solution to this convoluted situation. Quickly, as fast as possible, before the demon in Chai Jinyun's body wakes up. He needs to kill him. He wonders how, and who will be the one to do it. They cannot just leave it to anyone. No mercenary would accept a request to kill the 4th generation of a rich family, and because there are no indicators of a seed budding, it's impossible to suggest taking action against it. It would be impossible for Kim Suho to defeat a fully blossomed demon. Even if the currently active heroes mobilized, a few of them will inevitably be sacrificed. That is why it cannot happen. All of those people need to become his strength in the later parts of the story. Which means, in the end. And we see Naeun calling out to her brother while telling him that she is here for him. On the other hand, Hajin decides that he needs to be the one to kill him. Naeun starts talking to her brother about the incident and how it was her first time seeing a jinn, and the fact that she almost died. She also starts to talk about Hajin but suddenly stops in the middle. She changes the topic by saying, "Let's not talk about that." Suddenly she gets informed that the visiting hours are over and she leaves while telling him that she will be back. As she is leaving, her expressions are quite grim. She starts to remember Hajin's words about her brother. And we see an angry and grim expression on her face, as she targets Hajin. Now at Hero's Tower, in the file room. We see Yoon Sung-ah is looking at some files while being unauthorized and her assistant is freaking out in fear of being caught. She tells him that it's fine, she just needs to take a quick look at today's museum attack. At the scene, on the body of Jin, they found traces of light attribute mana, which means that one of the people who defeated the Jin can use light attribute. She gets fired up thinking about recruiting the person with the light attribute as they are very powerful against the Jin, and it freaks out her assistant. And she notes, since the Jin was hunted by 3 cadets, one of them must be the light attribute user, Kim Suho and Chai Naeun. They are already keeping an eye on both of them. But Kim Hajin, ranked 934th, she has never heard of his name before. Now at the academy, Hajin has realized some things recently. It seems that other people cannot see his laptop, thanks to which he can check settings without worrying about the gazes of the characters. And after this realization, he has also added a certain function to his laptop. That is the function in which he gets a notification if a setting different from his novel occurs within 30 m from him. This should be much more efficient rather than getting messages from co-author, and behind him someone calls Hajin out. We see it's Naeun, who is quite pissed and asks Hajin to spar with her. At first he does not answer, and then rejects her proposal, but she tries to rile him up asking if he is chickening out after saying that about someone's family. But he replies that he needs to be careful since they are live rounds. He does not want to get in trouble for injuring a classmate, and hearing which pisses Naeun off. The instructor comes and asks them on what are they doing. She tells Naeun to back off since Hajin does not have a training weapon yet, which she annoyingly does so. As she is walking away, Hajin thinks that he does not need to apologize to her yet. Since he has a primary goal, and he is working his ass off to become stronger, so he can kill her older brother. And even if he improves their relationship right now, she would feel even more betrayed in the end. Switching scenes to another club room in the cube. We see the president of the club is introducing himself. The club's name is Truth and his name is Yoon Hyeon. Their club's main activities are monster analysis and raid strategy research, so they gather every week for discussion, and looking at his appearance, we see girls getting charmed by him. a handsome appearance, the ability to capture the audience. These are both abilities of a demon. The cube, which is an important stage at the early parts of the novel, sees various events like cadets' kidnappings and monster invasions. Hajin is the villain that leads those events. He is a djinn that has obtained the charm ability from the demon, Lilith. And his primary target and the reason for why Hajin joined this academic club is none other than Yo-Yunya. As the first orientation, Hajin tells everyone to take it easy. He introduces the high intermediate monster, the mountain tyrant, which appeared with the outcall, hence he is a monster with almost 50-year history. Both in and out of cube, information regarding high-ranking monsters is very valuable, and information regarding their weak points is valued at millions of dollars. He then asks everyone to the weak points of the mountain tyrant and then specifically targets Yo-Yunya, who replies that she does not know yet, and the president replies that it is the correct answer, since discussing like this is one of the joys of their club. He tells everyone to join the after-party if they want to have a discussion. Hajin asks Yunya if she is going to go there, but she ignores him and leaves. Hajin gets pissed and asks again, this time, formally. She replies that she is, as she might get some useful information. He then asks if she is going to share it with her guild's raid team. The guild, Essence of the Strait. 50 years ago, during the outcall, it was founded with Yo-Yunya's family at the center. They are currently one of the major guilds that influence South Korea. Hajin tells her that he has heard the deputy guildmaster's pull is quite strong within the guild lately, to the point that she, the traditional inheritor, is threatened, which is why she is uncharacteristically going to the after-party to get information. Hearing all that, Yunya asks him to get to the point. He replies that he will tell her about it, the weak point of the high-ranking monster, Mountain Tyrant. She gets surprised upon hearing that, and he replies that she would need to rack up achievements if she wants to take over the guild in the future. He tells her that the blue emblem on its heel, if she attacks there, she can stop the Mountain Tyrant's movements. Though he is not giving it away for free, and since her guild operates the Essential Armory, he wants her to buy the Desert Eagle from them. She goes silent for a moment and asks the basis of his claim, and Hajin smirks with confidence and replies that he does not have one. She is left speechless on his reply and gets pissed while calling it a waste of time, and Hajin tells her that he promised that she is going to lose big time for not trusting him. He thinks if she decides to ignore him, the information worth millions will go to waste. Though if she believes him, he would end up with an powerful ally. Next day, she calls to his secretary and tells him to pass something to the raid team. It's that the blue emblem on its heel might be his weak point, so try to attack that, while blushing slightly, while Hajin states she would be an ally, who will one day be known as the Queen of Seoul. Now back to Hajin, we see he has a loan notice on his name for 300,000 won. Seeing which he gets utterly shocked and is left speechless. He realizes that Kim Chun-dong took out a loan of 300 millions, which is the most amount a cadet can take as a loan. He starts to wonder, just what the hell was he doing? He then quickly checks his bank balance, which is only 3 million won. He realizes that at this rate, instead of going back to his world, he will die paying of debts for the rest of his life. He decides to first get money somehow now. Currently he knows two ways of making money. The first is stocks. Towers and dungeons still pop up everywhere in this world. Guilds were created to find and raid those. Treated similarly to other enterprises, a public guild stocks can be sold and bow on the stock market. And he already knows which guilds are going to make it big, but he does not have the money to invest, so it's not an option right now. Then the only option to remain is field hunting. It's the danger zone where monsters appear. Unlike towers and dungeons, the danger levels varies greatly, but you can immediately trade in the bodies of monsters for money. Though right now, his stats are only a little bit better than an average adult, which makes him wonder if he can go on field hunt at this level. Reinforcing training guns that he have right now would just be a waste of SP, as such he tries to think of some other way. Suddenly he gets a knock on his door, with a package for him from Yo-Yunya. He gets confused and wonders what is it. As he opens the briefcase, he is left surprised with its content. Now fast forward, in Gangwon-do Wonju, Field Region. We see a receptionist thanking Hajin for using the portal, and Hajin notes that she is being super polite, right after he told her he is a cadet. He steps out of the portal station and into the city. And we get a clear view of a busy city street. The Gangwon-do region is a low-danger field. Foreigners are here everywhere all the time to hunt, hence it has been dubbed International Metropolis. We see few people are searching for party members and some other selling potions. Some are also selling news about a crazy man who is on a hunt, naked, and while walking he suddenly notices something. It's an agency, which makes him think that it would be more advantageous while selling if he had an agency, and wonders if he should just find some agent here. Suddenly someone approaches him from behind, asking if he is here to hunt monsters. Hajin asks him if he is an agent, to which he replies that he is, and he tries to give his card, but it falls, and Hajin notes that this guy is a bit clumsy. Upon looking at his card, Hajin gets surprised seeing his name, Park Soo-hyuk, the best agent representative in Korea, and the man who will become Kim Soo-ho's agent. Hajin is quite surprised upon meeting him at a place like this. And just like that, Hajin tells him that he would make contract with him, which surprises Park Soo-hyuk. Hajin notes that this world is still beginning, hence a lot of people have not found their value in the story yet. It would not do any harm to make connections early on, but he wonders if it's okay for him to take away Soo-ho's agent. Now at the field zone, Hajin asks him if it's okay for him to follow along. He tells Hajin to not worry and he leave him behind when it gets dangerous, making Hajin think that usually agents without cars wait outside of the field. Park Soo-hyuk notices the footprints of Hobo Goblin, which are easy to hunt and goes for about 300,000 to 400,000 won per head. But Hajin is not sure about it, as one magic bullet costs him around 200,000 won, and more expensive monsters would be better for his profits, and hence he points at another monster. We see it's some kind of boar, and Park Soo-hyuk confirms it's a steel boar. He informs Hajin that it cannot be defeated by his weapon, it won't pierce his outer skin, and Hajin replies, they will see about that. Soo-hyuk is quite surprised upon hearing that, and Hajin replies that his weapon is quite good. Thinking that it is a weapon that he received from Yunya, in exchange for information about that mountain tyrant. As such, we see him taking out his new weapon, Desert Eagle, high grade, steel attribute. Seeing which, Soo-hyuk freaks out, and Hajin has also added a certain setting to this weapon using SP. Soo-hyuk warns him again, that he is going to only agitate it further. But Hajin does not listen and takes his shot on the boar. We see the bullet piercing through the steel boar, leaving Soo-hyuk completely surprised. The boar also falls down in one single shot. We see the changes that Hajin made to his new weapon as well. And while standing over the cliff, Hajin calls his new weapon, not bad. We see his Desert Eagle has a blue smoke coming out of its barrel. And after looking at its power, Soo-hyuk compliments the weapon and Hajin's amazing shooting ability as well, but Hajin replies that it's nothing special. Suddenly he takes another shot at something, scaring Soo-hyuk. And he asks what was it, and Hajin points that there was a black pelican over that cliff. Surprised, Soo-hyuk asks if he could really see that far. And Hajin replies that much distance is nothing more than a hand stretch away for him. Finishing up his work, Hajin starts heading back. Now it gets evening and we see both the corpse of the steel boar and the black pelican. Soo-hyuk states that despite only being two, they were extremely heavy, and Hajin asks if he would be able to carry it outside the field. Soo-hyuk replies that perhaps it would be better to just pay the dispatch cost and call 911, and he would also deposit the reward money to Hajin tomorrow. Hearing it all, Hajin thinks it's as expected of Soo-hyuk, knowing how to get things done. They shake each other's hands, and Soo-hyuk asks about his first hunt, and also asks what would Hajin spend his reward money on. Hajin gives a straightforward answer that it would be for stocks. Hearing which, Soo-hyuk is a bit shocked and confused. New guild, Packhorse Masters, with the setting that a demonic human has founded it. It is a guild that is treated with importance in the novel. But it's not the area that he should be focusing on right now, but rather the dungeon that this guild has raided. The Suan Demon Den, that the Packhorse Masters cleared. After this raid, their stock will increase by 1000%. It's a guaranteed profit just by buying it, an easy way to make money. Hajin looks for some other useful bits of info. Since the public forums does not have much info, he decides to check on some shady website, Violet Society. And from shady, he gets reminded of something. The Chameleon Troupe, the main villains in the latter half of the story, as the name suggests, all of the members' identities in the crime organization are concealed, and the only person who have information about their location and activities is the author, Hajin himself. Hajin thinks that since they hate demonic humans despite being a criminal organization, perhaps their leader can help him kill Chai Jin-yoon. According to the story, one of their spots is vacant for now, so they should be making their move soon. Suddenly his laptop turns off, and he wonders what is happening. He gets scared thinking that he lost his only chance of going back to his old world. But it turns back on, and he gets relieved again. It shows a notification that 1 month has passed, and starts updating his laptop's features. Now we switch scenes to a restaurant, and people there are charmed upon seeing someone. We see it's Yunya and Shin, and looking at whom people wonders if they are celebrities. Shin is annoyed about this noble society gathering and wonders when it would stop happening, but Yunya tells him to just bear with it, as it is not a bad thing to make connections with the leaders of the society. Yunya asks about his grade, and he simply replies it's fine, and as Yunya tries to rile him up about getting the top spot, he cuts her off, saying that it's fine. Hearing his response, she also simply replies with an okay. The door opens and we see Chai Naeun arrives. As Yunya is about to call her over, Shin excitedly gets up upon seeing her. He goes running towards her asking since when did she started to come to this gathering, and she replies she would have skipped if she knew he is also here. He asks about her condition and she replies that it was not much and tells him to stop overreacting on it. Hearing them talk, we see Yunya gets angry. Suddenly she asks them if they know Hajin, which surprises Yunya. Yunya asks her on why is she asking, and she replies, during the museum incident, she was with him and Kim Suho. The demonic human was stronger than they thought, and they were fighting it. And Hajin was able to damage the Jin. Calling it unbelievable that he shot his arm of a demonic human with a weapon like that, and calls him suspicious due to it. She directs the question to Yunya as she was in the same team as him, and she gets surprised by it. Yunya has already investigated him before and knows about his debt and him being an orphan, other than that everything else is still a mystery, and he didn't told her anything, even when she asked, so they don't have any other choice but to keep investigating him, and there is a need to assess whether he is worth using or not. But he is not much anything, and from what she saw in the practical, she claims that he does not hold the power to destroy a demonic human's arm and wonders if he is hiding something. Naeun raises a question that perhaps he is a demonic human. But Yunya asks, if he was one, he wouldn't have attacked his own kind, but Naeun replies that he is hiding something for sure. Now back to Hajin, he wonders what is happening as the update reaches 99.99%. Suddenly his wrist starts to light up and he starts feeling pain. He notices something on his wrist and his vision starts getting blurry. The stigma is one of the creator's authorities and contains magic power, and large amount of information starts to crash into Hajin's head like a tsunami. Back to Shin, he slams his head on the table while asking them that if what they mean is they don't like him. Neither of them answers. We see Hajin is in extreme pain and starts falling down. Naeun again remembers what he said during the museum incident, and upon taking that into account, replies to Shin that he can say that. While Hajin is lying on the floor, unconscious and with a stigma on his wrist. We see the update contents, a low-grade gift, Book of Truth, and the gift of observation and reading gets strengthened. Fast forward, soon after the museum incident, Hajin, Kim Suho, and Chai Naeun, who fought the demonic human, were awarded the Exemplary Citizen Award for their feat. We see Hajin with a bandage on his wrist, and his wound is also still hurting from yesterday. He looks at his wrist and wonders what sort of ability is this, and besides him we see an annoyed person. It's Chai Naeun, who tells Hajin to shut up. But Hajin replies that he has not said anything, but Naeun still tells him to shut up regardless. He asks Naeun if she forgot, and she asks, forgot what, and Hajin replies that he has saved her. She gets angry and start to argue, but Suho comes along and tells both of them to stop. He asks Naeun to change seats with him, which she doesn't want to. But in the end, it's Kim Suho who sits beside Hajin. He pretends to cough and thanks Hajin for the museum incident, and Hajin wonders what is it about. Suho thanks him sincerely that they would have died if not for him. But Hajin replies that he believes they would have won without him as well. As without him, Kim Suho might have awakened an even stronger power. Because the main character always gets stronger in the face of danger and hardships. The announcer tells everyone to get ready, as that person is here. We see it's some old-looking dude, who is completely nonchalant and seemingly annoyed with this whole ordeal. He turns out to be a supreme hero, ranked 37th, Yo Si-hyuk, who finds all of this annoying. He is also called the Valhalla's Wolf, and his magic power is also huge as noticed by the crowd. The award ceremony begins and the recipients are called on the stage. Yo Si-hyuk is the one to give them awards, and the announcer gives a small speech about them defeating the demonic human and facing the danger as an exemplary citizen. Si-hyuk confirms Kim Suho's identity and tells him that he can see why those brats would want him, and Suho replies that he is flattered with such compliments. While giving him his award, he tells Suho to not ever join the association. It might be better choice to work as a hunter under vast plain, as heroes have tons of responsibilities and no fun. But Suho replies that he feels like he is fit for a hero. Hearing his response, Si-hyuk thinks of it as boring. Next he looks at Naeun and tells her that it's been a while. Naeun shouts and calls him master, and he cuts her off in the middle while saying, how can he be her master when she is an archer? Her father simply asked him to look out for her, which he has no interest in. Looking at Hajin, Si-hyuk asks him on who is he, and he introduces himself, and Si-hyuk simply hands him the award while saying, okay. It makes Hajin think that now he knows why indifference hurts more than hate, and this also marks the end of ceremony, and they ask Naeun to give a few words in speech. Fast forward, we see Hajin enjoying himself with a treat with the rewards that he received. And with this, he plans to buy more stocks in Packhorse Masters, and for now he goes on to check the new updated features of his laptop. First up is stigma. It's the term for this wound on his arm. But the instructions were a bit vague for it. It says that he can use it however he wishes. And as he says the words, as I wish, the stigma glows and starts to project itself. He quickly hides it back, as he is in public, and plans to check it once he is back in his room. Next up is laptop internet access, and clicking on it, he gets surprised. Upon seeing it, he realizes that it's the real deal. He notes that these are not just normal websites, and there are also websites that he has to pay in order to enter. Among them, the Violet Society is important. It's the most famous among non-public sites. It acts as a location that trades information, weapons, bounties, and requests. There is not a hero who has not interacted with the Violet Society. This is why the government leaves them be, even though they know of this underground economy. There is normally a huge entrance fees to access it, but he can easily sign up with just 200 SP. And right as he is signing up, someone arrives at his table. And it's Sung-ah. She asks Hajin if he knows who she is, and she was surprised upon seeing him disappear during the ceremony. She gives him her card, and there is a great significance in Yoon Sung-ah offering you her card. She tells Hajin that there is something she is curious about, and asks Hajin if she could ask him a question, and Hajin notes that this is the first step of Yoon Sung-ah's scouting. Hajin knows that Sung-ah seems kinder than anyone in the eyes of media, but her real personality is quite different. She throws away anyone who does not meet her expectations. Even if she recruited them with much difficulty, she adheres to the law of the survival of the fittest like an animal in the wild. That's the kind of woman the vice captain of the nation's greatest guild, Yoon Sung-ah, is. And if he were to make connections with her right now, it would help him a lot later as the story develops. And as Sung-ah is about to ask her question, Hajin tells her, no, before she even completes, completely shutting her down by saying that he has nothing to tell her. She tells him that perhaps he is misunderstanding, but she is expressing her interest as Korea's #1 guild's vice captain, but Hajin replies that he appreciates the interest, but only if that interest is genuine. Hajin knows that she probably came after him after finding out that he used light attribute attack, but the interest she is showing right now is nothing more than curiosity. As such, he plans to reject her right now, so it becomes more than simple curiosity. Hence, Hajin gets up and leaves, leaving Sung-ah completely shocked and speechless. Now in his room, he starts testing his stigma, and tries to form its magic power in the form of a dagger. His stigma starts glowing, and a dagger is formed through it. He notices that he can use it simply by thinking about it. Magic power is a stat that greatly influences gifts and early learning. At first, Hajin thought he wouldn't be able to use it since he does not belong to this world, but it's a relief that he can use it like that at least. Now, the next ability to try out is the Book of Truth. As he says its name, the book gets invoked through his stigma. The book contains the truth. It will answer any question that Hajin's magic power permits. He gets quite surprised by his ability and asks a simple question about his height to test it, and it answers correctly. It also consumes 1 SP, and now Hajin realizes how to use it. Suddenly, his smartwatch starts glowing red. It's an emergency notice about a missing cadet Jin Hajong. Seeing this, Hajin wonders if it has begun. The second story arc, the Cube serial murder incident. 6 cadets go missing during the month that this plot progresses. Unable to find a trace of the culprit, the case becomes a mess, and as if to mock them, the number of missing person cases increases. This arc is especially important because the culprit's last target is Yo Yunia. It would be a huge problem for Hajin if the co-author's intervention risks the loss of the protagonist's supporters, just like in the museum, hence he decides it would better if he were to catch the culprit first. But if he intervene without thinking, the story might change. Hence, he simply decides to watch over for now. Now at the training room, Suho is tired and drinks a bottle of water. Suddenly a guy comes and asks Suho to look at something. We see few guys are trying to bully Hajin by not letting him train. They mock for not being able to lift that much of weight despite being a cadet, and blames him for shaming the entire cube. Suho gets angry and tries to intervene, but the guy stops him, telling him that it's no need to get involved. Suho calls out Seonghan for his actions despite being a class president, and he replies that Hajin has pissed off Shin Jong-hak. It would be inconvenient if they get involved. And perhaps they're just acting. Besides, if that guy really destroyed a demonic human's arm, he would not let himself be bullied by those kinds of dudes. As Hajin tries to lift the weights and fail, everyone is surprised for his inability to lift even that much. Seeing that, Seonghan calls him defeating the demonic human a luck, and Kim Suho then goes on to those bullies to defend Hajin, and everyone notices that, while Naeun is standing silently in the corner. Suddenly the instructor arrives, shouting at them for causing commotion during training hours. He tells everyone to get together, as the results from last time's quiz are out, and they can check it on the poster which he is putting up. They all starts to check their result, comparing and analyzing their scores. As for Hajin, we see he has secured first place, which makes sense for him as he cheated off the settings. Behind him, Rachel drops her rapier in shock. Rachel Elizabeth Louise, England's princess and cube standing at third place, other than that, whether it be big or small. She has never been out of first place in test results after starting school. And seeing her reaction towards it all makes Hajin worried and speechless. We see Rachel's butler and assistant congratulating her for being accepted into Cube, and for her Korean classes as well. She tells them it's okay, and she will make sure to meet their expectations. For the honor of England's royal family. Back to the present, she is depressed about losing first place, and apologizes to her family. And the instructor is praising Hajin for his answers on phenomenon realm analysis and telling all the cadets to be like him and learn from him. Rachel plans to shorten the gap between her and Hajin but notes that phenomenon realm analysis is a difficult subject, hence it would be hard for her to do so before midterms. She starts to stare and observe Hajin in class, and starts wondering on how does he study. Back in his room, Hajin goes on a website called Information Center for Veritas. He plans to use the Book of Truth to answer questions and get some pocket money for himself while at it. The Book of Truth can give him information from anywhere, as long as his SP permits it. He won't get much profit since he does not have any credibility, but once the rumors spread, he will get more customers in no time. Hence, he registers as a seller on that website. And next up, he plans to invest the SP he has been putting on hold. Since the start of the second main story, meaning Cube is not safe from demonic humans anymore. Setting interventions, Deadeye, he realizes that his current gifts are not enough to face the demonic humans. But he has gotten lots of SP, thanks to the bullying from Shin Posse, so he plans to invest in survivability. And for now, he decides to upgrade his weapon. He adds a transformation feature to his weapon, from a handgun to sniper rifle. Seeing the changes, he wonders if he went overboard with it. It consumes 250 SP, and we see his Desert Eagle has transformed into a sniper rifle. He chuckles, knowing that he can surprise them, and transforms his Desert Eagle back to its original state. Next, he plans to write some arts. Unlike gifts that create supernatural phenomena using magic power, arts refer to polished physical techniques or talents. The most important skill for a sharpshooter to have for survival and assassinations is positioning, and such he tries to think of an art related to positioning. He ends up creating parkour, flexible and swift body movements, consuming 350 SP. He starts feeling its effect right away, knowing that it must have worked. His smartwatch suddenly lights up, and another notification for a missing person, Seungjin from the Universe class. Hajin knows it's the second victim, and everyone who were caught by the culprit before Yunia were murdered by the culprit. He wonders if it's really okay for him to just stand by and watch as people go missing, when he knows both the culprit and the next victim as well. We see he is very doubtful and nervous about his decision. Now next day in the morning, at the Cube Outdoor Training Hall. The instructor asks if everyone is here and that today's practical training will be special. The cave behind him is the culmination of magic engineering, artificial dungeon. monster puppets that imitates the real monsters inhabits this dungeon, and they will be experiencing a dungeon raid through exploring this artificial dungeon. He also tells them to not let their guard down thinking that it's just training. Because in this huge dungeon, they will begin a joint training of the Veritas and Discipline classes. The two teams from each of the classes will combine to make a bigger team, and he informs them to gather with their assigned team. Everyone gets with their team, and Hajin is in Team B with Yo Yunya, Jin Ho-sung, Hazuki, and from Discipline, Jaden, Kim Jingyu, Oh Soo-jong, Lee Jin-sha. Hajin notes that there are many traps and mysteries in the artificial dungeon. Some of them will likely be a demonic humans trap, hence he has made some attribute bullets just in case, but wonders if they would be able to finish this training in one piece. Suddenly he gets warning that setting change has occurred. He notices it and that too, 3 of them. He tries to look around for the change, and wonders who is it and how did it happen. In Suho's team, Yona is yelling at Suho to gather around quickly and makes fun of him for looking like a breadstick. The notification appears that her personality has become more bad-tempered. Back in Hajin's team, Jaden holds Yunya's hand and introduces himself, by which she is disgusted by. In Naeun's team, there is a member from the hunting club, and Naeun tries to remember his name. He introduces himself as Sven. We see the notification of his mental state worsening, and the likelihood of being enraged by a demon pawn during the dungeon raid has dramatically increased. Seeing all these changes, Hajin realizes that it's a complete catastrophe. Hajin decides to take a closer look, noting there are 2 people here whom he needs to be careful of. One of them is Jaden. He acts strong around the weak, but is weak against the strong, a typical selfish narcissist. Although he is strong enough to be scouted by the essence of straight, he wonders what is up with his potential. Jaden introduces his teammates. From the left, Jingyu, Oh Soo-jong, Lee Jin-sha. Yunya also introduces her teammates, Jin Ho-sung, Hazuki, and takes Hajin's name wrong as Lee Hajin instead of Kim, which pisses him off. Hajin deduces that there is no need to know any more about Jaden, and moves on to his next target, Sven of Team 3, a government-funded international student, one of the Germans' top future heroes that has been on top of everything for his entire life. And one thing to note is, he likes Naeun. Just like the endless international students that enter the cube, Sven was one of that became a cube cadet with the dream of climbing to the top. However, the reality did not turn out as he wanted. And in the face of other monstrous cadets, he became nothing more than just another average cadet. It was the first time that he felt such inferiority and sense of defeat, along with the unstable nature of puberty. As a result, Sven ends up selling his soul to a demon to gain immense amount of power. Though it matches up with what he wrote about him, the problem is during the dungeon raid portion in the notification. His awakening has moved up, due to which Hajin hopes that it does not affect the story too much, and suddenly someone from behind him grabs his shoulder. It's Jaden, and he asks Hajin if he is sharpshooter and tells him to not let his guard down like this in the dungeon. Hajin tells him to get lost, and Jaden calls out his attitude while saying that the rumors about him seems to be true, which pisses Hajin off. Apparently, people's perception about Hajin has reached rock bottom, the reason being a certain rumor about him spread from the universe class. The gist is that Kim Hajin is using his position as cadet to blackmail others. He goes to Seoul every weekend to enjoy debauchery. And to him, it's obvious who spread that. Though Hajin wonders, why is nobody doing anything about it, as he thought they were a team. Now instructor tells them to enter in order, starting with Team 1, and Jaden tries to talk with Yunya about her getting first place in the supporter division. She replies that she has also heard rumors about him, and thinks that they have made mistakes when making these teams. Jaden, while pointing at Hajin, says that there is always someone weighing the team down when there is someone who carries the weight, which pisses Hajin off. Now their team enters the dungeon. They arrive at some place with multiple routes, and Jaden wonders if this is the first challenge. Yunya wonders which way they should go, and Jaden tries to get the sharpshooter of his team, Jinyu's suggestion. But Hajin speaks up before him, advising to go with number 6. Jaden gets angry and tries to refuse, but Yunya immediately accepts his suggestion. She compliments Hajin by saying, even though he looks stupid, he still got one hell of an eye. And Hajin thinks that it worked out for him due to Yunya. Now they can take the route where Naeun went. Because if Sven is really going to sign contract with a demonic human here, it would be difficult for Naeun to handle it alone, and if something were to happen to her, the story from there on out is going to be messed up. And he cannot let her die, and hence their team enters route number 6. Jaden is pissed on Hajin for his attitude and Hajin tells him to instead worry about the monsters in front of him. Jaden does not believe him, and asks what monsters is he even talking about, and Hajin asks if he cannot see it. A salamander is right in front of them, and he is sure it's a dungeon switch as well. Jinyu asks if she should shoot a light arrow and Yunya tells her to do so, and as the arrow reaches the dark depths of the dungeon, it reveals the low intermediate, grade 6 monster, salamander. Jaden is surprised, and tells everyone to get ready for battle and asks if anyone here can use water attribute. Hajin notes that it's not the time to use it yet, and hence they decide to go with the orthodox method and Yunya takes out her whip. She attacks the salamander who is preparing to launch a breath attack towards them. She uses her whip to close his mouth, and Hazuki along with Sujong attacks the salamander. And the salamander is defeated just like that. Hajin notes Yunya's whip is engulfed in electricity, and wonders if she has already reached the Eye of Enlightenment stage. And right as he is calling her impressive, he trips on a pebble and falls on Yunya, and we see something just barely missing them both. They both fall with their face planted on the ground and Hajin starts sweating from this mistake. She tells him to let go angrily and he quickly backs off. She grabs his collar, and as she is about to beat him up, their team notices something. They notice an arrow stuck in the wall, and wonders where did it came from. Hajin notices that it was just when they fell down. It was an actual poison arrow that was shot towards them with neurotoxins on its tip. Switching scenes, we see someone running and Sven is shot by an arrow and is apologizing while telling his team to leave him. But Naeun shouts and tells him to shut up, telling him to get up and run if he has strength to talk. She is surprised that they actually put them through a training where darts laced with poison will be shot on them. She grabs Sven and tries to run away from something. And we see it's a huge lava monster, and Naeun yells while complaining about why is there a monster like this appearing here. Now back to Hajin's team, we see them battling out monsters. As a bunch of little lizard-like monster attacks Jinyu, Jaden blocks it with his shield. And from behind the cover, Jinyu shoots them and Yunya is also seen fighting on her own. Finally they all finish up, and Hosung asks if all of them have been dealt with. They all talk on how easy it all is, since it's mostly peanut flames and salamanders. They have not encountered any traps, except for those poison arrows earlier, so they simply have to keep progressing like this. Hajin thinks about that arrow earlier. He wonders if it was really a trap since not even a cadet would be able to detect it. He starts wondering what it is, and we see a small fire behind them and Hajin notices something and gets shocked upon feeling its presence. We see a salamander charging its breath towards their team, seeing which Hajin is shocked that it's still alive. It launches its attack, and everyone is too late to notice it. Hajin puts out his hand and starts to activate his stigma. He uses its magic power and converts it into a wall of water. And such we see its attack getting completely blocked by a huge wall of water from Hajin. After doing that attack, the salamander falls over by itself. Everyone is scared and shocked upon seeing its devastating power and wonders if it's truly a monster. They think that it was a real breath as just by getting grazed by it, it burned them. Suddenly Jaden grabs Hajin by the collar and asks him if he was dozing off when they were looking for someone with water attribute earlier. Hajin makes up excuse that it's the effect of his armament, but Jaden does not buy it and Yuen-her tells them to stop fighting. Sejong notices that it was a real monster instead of a puppet, and wonders how did it got here. Yunya replies that since this environment has been optimized for a dungeon, a lizard could have evolved or may have appeared naturally. They decide to leave it be for now as it might convert into reward points. She tells everyone to get moving. Yunya knows that the armament thing is probably a lie, as it's not something Hajin can buy when he could not even afford Desert Eagle, and how can someone who is not Kim Suho or Shin Jong-hak imbue an attribute into their magic power? The fact he knew the vital point of a mountain tyrant, and be able to imbue attribute into their magic power, she starts to wonder his reason for hiding all this. She starts to remember Naeun's word about him being a demonic human. And such she starts to doubt Hajin herself as well. Back to Team 3, they are looking over the intermediate grade, Class 5 monster, Magma Golem, and assumes that he is the boss of the dungeon and wonders if they could defeat it. One of them asks Naeun if they could kill it and she replies that it would be difficult and suggests to wait until other teams gets here and join them. The blondie also tells everyone to take care of Sven's injury properly and Naeun wonders where did that arrow even came from and notices that this training is strangely difficult. Sven on the other hand is sorry for getting hit by the poison arrow like that. He starts crying and breaking down about his inability and the fact that nothing is working out for him ever since he came to Cube, calling it all agonizing. Suddenly he hears a voice calling him out, and he wonders who is it. The voice asks him if he wants to become stronger. The voice offers him strength, and Sven is speechless. It tries to convince him that the price is low, much lower than risking everything, and offers his hand. Sven gets up, trying to grab the hand and accepting his offer in order to become stronger. We see it's the demon who starts to completely absorb Sven. He starts screaming loudly in pain, and everyone notices. They wonder what is wrong with him, and Naeun tells them to hold him down. But the magma golem hears them and gets to their team. Naeun immediately shouts at everyone to run away, as the golem spits out lava through his mouth. The golem swipes on the place they were all standing. But they all have already started running away, and Naeun is also carrying Sven on her back. The golem destroys everything, and her teammates are sent flying in the air, and Naeun is also barely able to make it. She starts coughing from all the debris and smoke, and the golem gets close to her. Seeing that, she gets convinced that there is no way it is a mere puppet. The golem starts charging its attack, and Naeun only has death in her mind, thinking that she is going to die in a place like this. Suddenly we see a bullet being shot, which hits right on the golem and splashes him with water. Naeun is confused and sees someone standing on the other side of the dungeon. And we see it's none other than Kim Hajin. Now a few minutes ago, Hajin and his team arrives at some place with a huge wall blocking them. One of them complains about Hajin telling them that they will find the boss field here, but it's blocked, and Hajin replies that it is here. Hajin notes that there shouldn't be a wall here, though it does not matter. Hajin tells him that the boss field is up ahead this wall, and he should try breaking it. He tries to break through it, but the recoil instead hurts him. The guy yells and complains that there is no way it will break, and Hajin notes that a slash filled with magic did not even leave a scratch. Suddenly Hazuki notices a gap in the wall towards the upside. Hajin tells them that they can go from there, and Jaden complains that the wall is over 10 meters high, there is no way they can climb that. Hajin replies that if they cannot, that he will go on ahead. He activates his art and climbs the wall. Seeing him climb like that, Jaden wonders if he is a cat or something. Suddenly everything starts to shake, and Jaden wonders what the hell is going on. Back to the fight, the golem starts moving already, surprising Hajin. He shouts at Naeun to hurry up and move and also save him as well. Suddenly Naeun's team arrives, shouting battle formation, and they start attacking the golem. But the golem does not even budge from their attack. Seeing her team, Naeun gets back up as well and prepares her bow. She starts charging up her attack and asks her team to buy her some time. Suddenly, someone lands a powerful blow on the golem. And we see it's Sven, who apologizes for being late. As Naeun prepares to launch her attack, Sven backflips away from the golem. Naeun thinks back to the attack in museum and shouts that this time, it would be different than before. She launches a huge attack at the golem and completely obliterates it in one blow. We see the golem is broken in pieces and fallen on the ground. Their team is unable to believe that they really managed to kill a magma golem, and wonders if it would count towards their score. Naeun and Sven comes along as well, asking their team members if they are alright. They start praising Naeun for being able to kill the golem in one hit, and she replies by calling it her finishing move. Hajin notes that Sven has not been completely demanified, the plot has been altered from the original. But it's only been delayed. It does not change the fact that he made a deal with a demon, and since it's uncertain when he will go berserk, it's even more worse. Naeun notices Hajin sitting alone at one place. She starts to think of something and approaches Hajin. She tells him that she thought she should at least say this. With a bit of stuttering, she thanks Hajin. Hajin is quite surprised upon hearing that, and confusingly asks her again, and she gets annoyed and embarrassed and replies that she had said it already. Hajin is surprised that Chai Naeun has thanked her. Chai Naeun's life was riddled with tragedies. Her first was on her 6th birthday. She lost her mother because of a demonic human. This made her determined to become a hero. At an age where other kids laugh and play, she trained herself to death. She couldn't even form any deep relationship with her friends, since opening one's heart to someone else is the equivalent of revealing your weaknesses. Hence, not a lot of people have heard words of gratitude from Naeun. There are not many people who stand by her side as true friends. Because her dialogue had more, "I am sorry," than "thank you," Hajin as an author wrote her that way. Naeun questions him on why is he letting Jonghak's posse harass himself if he is this strong. As he managed to stop the magma golem earlier, if he has that much skill, he would be able to beat them with one punch. But Hajin replies, even if he wanted to, he is letting them be, because he cannot beat them. Naeun doubts it as she replies that she saw the power of his weapon earlier. He shows her his weapon, saying that it's a private weapon, which will explain it. Seeing which she freaks out, saying that he will get expelled if they find out, and Hajin replies that is why he only uses it when he really needs it. And besides, he already found a way to hide his weapon in stigma. He won't have to worry about getting expelled because they won't find anything. But Naeun tells him that even without that, he is way too strong and asks if perhaps he has a gift that strengthens firearms. He simply replies to go with that, and Naeun leaves in confidence while saying that she knew already and will pretend that she didn't saw anything. Suddenly she stops and asks Hajin if he has anything he wants to say to her. Hajin goes silent for a moment and replies that he doesn't. Hearing which, she leaves while saying, I see, and Hajin knows that if he apologizes right now, she would have forgave him for mentioning her brother. But he cannot do that. He has to maintain an awkward bystander relationship with her. Because in the future, he has to kill Chai Jin-yoon. One of the girl from her team asks Naeun if she is close with Hajin, and she annoyingly replies, no. Hearing which, Sven is seen with a creepy expression. Suddenly an announcement is made to suspend the raid and exit the dungeon as quickly as possible. Several problems occurred in this dungeon raid experience. A few cameras within the dungeon malfunctioned at the start of the test, real monsters invaded the artificial dungeon, the distribution of examiners got messed up, and they realized this problem too late. A serious incident occurred, but there were no causalities, so instead of dispatching an outside agency, Cube assured the cadets that they would independently investigate this matter. In other words, the demonic humans who've taken up the executive seats at the Cube have successfully covered up this incident. A large-scale investigation of this will occur after the second arc is over, and for that Hajin decides to worry later. The side effects of contract with a demon are hypertrophy of emotions and obsession. The worst-case scenario would be if Sven's emotions get out of control and make him go berserk while he is alone with Naeun. And to prevent that, he decides to check Sven's and Naeun's tendencies. He starts to open the messages, but feels guilty for accessing Naeun's messages. We see she has a chat with Sven about a bet. And according to the original story, this is the day when Sven will go berserk. As such, Hajin decides to follow them and plans to prepare some things in advance. And since he is also more or less grown, he decides to head to the Mount Gari dungeon. Suddenly his smartwatch lights up and Hajin wonders why this person is calling him. As Hajin picks it up, we see it's Kim Suho who has contacted him. After greeting Hajin, he asks if he has some free time on Friday, as there is something he would like to ask of him. Now at Mount Gari, the location in Gangwon-do which rages with pure and spiritual energy. Because of this, Mount Gari was called the Mecca of training by martial artists nationwide. However, the people who came to Mount Gari are not restricted to martial artists. Instead of fighting monsters, there are people who roam across the country to search for valuable treasures. And we see a weird-looking dude introducing himself as one of them. Hajin simply replies, I see. He thinks that Hajin is looking for ginseng root and tells him that he won't find any that way, but Hajin replies, he is not, and there is a place he is looking for. But the guy ignores his answers by saying that everyone says that and starts a long speech about his business. Hajin ignores him and moves on, while the guy thinks that he has a long way to go. Suddenly Hajin trips on something. And we see it's a ginseng root. Fast forward and we see him eating that ginseng root, and he used his setting modification on it to increase his variable stats by 2 for 30 minutes. Though he would have earned at least 700 million if he sold it as it is. Suddenly he starts slipping off the mountain and notes this cliff is so high, making the place he is searching for almost impossible to discover. In the middle of Mount Gari, once we get past all of the vines and moss, there lies an undead dungeon. The dungeon's boss is an intermediate grade 1 monster, Death Knight. Even if he is strengthened by the ginseng root, he is no match for it right now. But it does not matter right now for him. Suddenly we see many undead starts rising from the ground. And for Hajin, his target is not the dungeon's boss today, but the hidden stage. He uses his stigma and brings out his weapon and shoots away the undead. He starts defeating all of them quickly and uses his clairvoyance to see the path. After mapping the whole path, he backflips over them and shoots all of them one by one. With that, all of the undead are taken care of. He notices the number of undead keeps rising, meaning that he must be approaching Evangel's abode. Which Evangel, the hidden boss of Mount Gari dungeon, in the future, she will set up Evangel's castle, the worst undead fortress in history, in an abandoned church in Suwon. but the reason he is here in Evangel's abode is because of the 2 items that he can obtain from her. The growth-type weapon, Ether, and Evangel's seed. It is a weapon that made the character, demonic human, Toma, an executive of the wicked. There is no better item he can use than Ether in order to grow quickly. We see Hajin arriving at an long pathway and uses his clairvoyance to see the way. We see a huge tree with purple crystals growing on it at the end of pathway and a little child sitting there. Hajin knows that a matured witch will be hard to deal with. They must be killed when their body and intelligence is still incomplete. The little kid notices Hajin coming. Hajin stares at her silently and it gets hard for him to kill her. He tries to snap out of it since it has to be done and Toma did it as well. And besides, he was the one who created her after all, and hence, he pulls out his weapon. A witch in her spiritual form cannot be killed by his normal weapon in one blow. In that case, he unleashes his stigma and turns the light attribute magic power into a spear. He notes that the ginseng is working pretty good and throws the spear while thinking that he feels he became Yo-Yunia or something. We see the spear lands a clean shot at her. But he notes that she is still alive, although we see her slowly fading away. Her body starts cracking and she completely disappears. And Hajin notes that perhaps it was just a reflection of her nature. And from her, he gets both the weapon Ether and Evangel's seed. With Ether, all of his variable stats gets increased by 0.6, and Hajin notes that the attachment effect is really nice. And he is sure that it would be even better when it grows. With these stats he is finally on equal grounds as a cube cadet. And since he got 47 SP, and he has put the remaining ginseng on Violet Society, which should be sold pretty soon. But an even more important thing would be Evangel's seed. The Witch of Despair is quite the villainous name, though he is sure it would become an ally if grown well. Growing the seed is quite simple as well. Instead of water, he just has to feed it a small amount of blood. However, since the witch's nature and tendencies change depending on whose blood it is, he needs to be careful whose blood he feeds it with. As such, he puts it aside for now, and plans to go on to sleep early, since he is going to be extremely tired tomorrow. Now at Gangwon-do, Byokpa Mineral Spring. We see the club president asking for attendance, also introducing herself since it's their first time meeting since the OT. She once again starts explaining her club's objective. Their hunting club, Leonidas, has regular hunting gathering like this. They hunt harmful animals to help citizens as a hobby. Hajin thinks for today's episode, he only narrated the general ending, so he is not quite sure. Naeun gets severely injured, and then dies from the aftermath of a demonic human's rampage. This incident was nothing more than a plot device to make Suho care more about Naeun. By making them think that the demonic human's target is Naeun, and while everyone's attention in the search team is on her, they will make their move on their real target. The thing that Hajin is bothered by is, Sven's setting is different from the original work. He has not gone berserk, and is even using the power of a demon, although very slight. Hajin wishes that he could take him out right now. Naeun notices Hajin taking glances at her direction, and wonders why does he keep loitering around her when he is acting like he does not care. She starts to misunderstand and questions if he likes her or something. Sven warns her to be careful, and she asks if it's about Hajin, and Sven tells her about the disappearances lately. But Naeun tells Sven that Hajin is not that kind of person, which angers him. Hajin observes them both as the hunt begins. At the hunt, we see weird creepy tendrils attacks a deer and chokes him out. And it's Sven who is using his demonic power, and suddenly he hears someone calling him out and he immediately stops using his power. It's Naeun who is carrying a deer on herself, while claiming to have won their bet. But she is shocked upon seeing Sven score, and asks him on how did he got so many. Sven tells her that he won their bet, and Naeun replies, guess, she would have to fulfill his wish then, and asks him what is it. Sven starts blushing and is about to ask her out. We see Hajin is observing them from the bushes, knowing that Sven has contracted with the demon of lust, Asmodeus. For Sven, whose desires have been amplified from becoming a demonic human, patience is out of the question. Sven asks Naeun to go out with him. And Naeun is taken back from his sudden confession, and Sven asks if she does not want to. She replies, of course not. She would not accept a confession from someone she have not been acquainted with for a week. Hajin is waiting for Sven to quickly reveal his true demonic human's nature. While Naeun also tells Sven that she only likes guys who are stronger than her. Hearing which, Sven gets agitated. Naeun starts to leave and Sven starts showing his demonic power, asking if it's really the case. And if it is, then she would have to come to him if he is stronger. Naeun turns back to tell him to leave it, but is shocked and is suddenly attacked. We see his tendrils have made contact, but Sven feels something is off. We see Hajin is here and has protected Naeun with his shield. As he is asking Naeun about her condition, he gets attacked by Sven. Naeun tries to pick her weapon and Hajin is getting choked by Sven. Naeun starts to concentrate her magic power in her hand and attacks Sven. But it does not affect him, and we see him going completely berserk while spamming Naeun with his love confessions. Naeun charges a huge amount of magic power in her hand, and Hajin is surprised to see it. Occasionally, there are a few characters with great potential in this world, who cannot bring out their full potential because they chose a weapon that does not fit with them. Out of which, Naeun is the greatest of them all. She once again shouts at Sven to let Hajin go, and prepares a huge attack. And as she attacks, we see a huge amount of mana is released through the attack. We see Naeun's attack has created a huge and long crater. Seeing that, Hajin asks Naeun on what was it. She replies that she does not know herself. Naeun asks if he is okay, and he replies, he is, and she asks again if he is really okay. Suddenly she starts falling unconscious while saying, it's a relief, and Hajin calls out her name in worry. Fast forward, it gets night, and Naeun starts waking up. She is shocked upon finding herself on back of Hajin. Hajin tells her that she was not getting up, so he was carrying her down. She asks him to let her down, and Hajin tells her that he is really going to do it, and Naeun angrily tells him to hurry up. And as soon as he puts her down, she is unable to stand up. She gets scared as she is unable to use her legs, and wonders what happened to her. Hajin asks if this is her first time experiencing magic power exhaustion, hearing which leaves her dumbfounded. Seeing her expression, Hajin explains that it's the state of decrease in magic power in speed due to it being exhausted within your body, and Naeun shouts that she knows it already. He tells her that she won't be able to walk for a day or two, so get on, which she hesitantly does so. Hajin asks if she is keep going to use bow, and she asks, on what the hell is he talking about suddenly? Hajin tells her that she must have felt it too. And he knows that today she unconsciously unleashed her gift, a power that can drastically increase her abilities as long as there is a conductor for her magic power, a supreme sword that can massacre hundreds of monsters and humans with a single slash. A woman unmatched in large scale, all-out war, an overlord of the battlefield. And for that future she should let go, but suddenly Naeun gets angry and asks, who the hell is he for saying that? Seeing her reaction, he realizes that it's still a long way to go. Hajin drops her at the portal customs and tells her to find her own way from here. Naeun asks him where is he going, and Hajin leaves saying that it's time for dorm curfew, while Naeun yells at him to wait and take her with him. Next day, we see many people start commenting about the incident with Sven. And we see Hajin entering room 303 for something. We see it's Suho there, who greets Hajin. Along with him, Kim Horak, Shin Jonghak, Yo Yunya, Lee Younghan. He notes that all of the important people have gathered here already. Now we go right before the day of the hunting club. On his call with Suho, Hajin asks him what is it, and Suho replies, it's about the incident where several kids have gone missing, and Cube has entrusted them to investigate this incident. To prevent bringing external forces into this matter, Cube entrusted a few trainees selected by grade with the culprit tracking mission. In the background, Naeun calls out to Suho to come with her, and he tells her to wait and tells Hajin about all the representatives for the first years. And also informs Hajin that Cube will be doing its investigations as well, since it's highly likely that the culprit is also a trainee. They said it's easier to track it from the inside. Hajin asks what does it all have to do with him. Suho replies, it's because he heard that he had good eyes and also that Naeun recommended him, which surprises Hajin. Back to the present, Suho thanks him for coming and Hajin thinks it's his pleasure as he will gain a lot of SP from this. Suho first starts explaining his theory that the demonic human that attacked Naeun is not the same as the culprit. Hearing this, someone suddenly stomps their leg in anger. We see it's Shin who is angry at Suho for taking Naeun's name in a way which makes it seem they are close. Seeing which, Suho changes it to Chai Naeun. Back to the topic, he thinks that it's likely their next target is Naeun, as they follow orders of the demons they are contracted to, but if Sven failed, then another demonic human contracted to the same demon will target her. As such, Suho asks for everyone's suggestion or if someone who seems suspicious to them. Hajin knows the culprit already, but he believes that recklessly calling him out will be dangerous, and he has been patiently waiting for him to expose himself. But unlike in the original work, where 6 victims appear in 2 months, 3 people have already gone missing in 2 weeks. At this pace it's highly likely there will be even more victims. He starts to remember Naeun thanking him, and realizes that he no longer wants to watch as danger looms over them, just for a reason like waiting for the story to develop. As such, he raises his hand, saying that he has someone in mind, and calls out academics club leader Yoon Hyun, calling him suspicious. Suho replies that he has an alibi, as they investigated people who were close to the victim. He questions on what if the victim went to Yoon Hyun on her own accord, and Shin argues that if he is saying that he lured the victim with mere mental magic, there is no way it could happen. Hajin replies that it would be true if it was regular mental magic, and as he is speaking, someone interrupts him. It's Yoon Ha, who calls it strange that he has been suspecting someone who has an alibi. And compared to the club leader, the chances of him being a demonic human is higher. Hearing which completely shocks Hajin. We see Hajin's memories when he was writing the novel, the time when he decided that the protagonist to have a supporter. A chaebol character who helps Suho, a vicious personality, but not one of hate. As he decides her name, Yo Yoon Ha. Back to the present, we see her accusing Hajin of being a demonic human. Suho defends Hajin, that he also has an alibi, as he used portal around the time of the crime. She replies that she is also making a guess like someone. An alibi like portal records can be easily fabricated and is less reliable than Yoon Hyun's alibi. Hajin gets flustered by it, and someone from behind says, to break his back first. It's Kim Horak, who says once Hajin gets beat, he would either transform or talk. We see both Shin and class president smiling, and Hajin has a blank and betrayed expression to his face. Hajin starts to chuckle and Horak asks him what is it that he is finding funny. Hajin tells Horak to bring it on, he will pierce a hole through his forehead. Suho steps in to stop them from fighting, and also tells Hajin to calm down. Hajin tells them to ask Naeun, as that day both her and him, but before he can explain himself, someone attacks him with a basketball. And we see it's Shin, who angrily asks him on why is Naeun's name is coming out of his mouth. Hajin replies that they worked together to kill the demonic human when she was attacked, while they were busy playing childish tricks with their posse. Hearing which, Shin gets angry and class president tries to calm him down. Saying all that, Hajin begins to leave. Suddenly he slips and we see Horak attacks him from behind. But Hajin has ducked down and dodged his attack completely. Horak is surprised that Hajin dodged it, and Hajin also pulls out his weapon, while saying that Horak needs a beating to understand. As they both are about to fight, Suho steps in and stops them both. He tells Horak that it's enough, and also to Yoon Ha, and she can ask Naeun if she is so suspicious. Yoon Ha immediately contacts Naeun to ask her about this. And Hajin storms off from there in anger, as Suho tries to stop him. Naeun defends Hajin and tells Yoon Ha that he is not a demonic human, but Yoon Ha does not reply back and is speechless. Now back to Hajin, who has stormed outside the building. He crouches down and wonders what he is doing, with a very sad expression. Not only did he fell into the novel he wrote, but he is also having emotional disputes with the characters he wrote with love. He tucks his face while saying that he is sick of it all. And he wants to see his friends and family, and wants to return to his home that has only 1 year left on contract. He wonders how the time is flowing in the original world. If it's flowing normally, would he be considered a missing person? And he starts to think about his parents and what if they were searching for him, what if they are feeling sad because of him? And starts questioning if he could even go back to his original world. Suddenly, he gets a notification that his perseverance has increased. He chuckles and smiles, while saying that it's killing his mood. He is glad that he increased his perseverance stat. The past him would not have had the courage to commit suicide, but he most definitely would have given up on returning. He wipes away his tears and starts to get back up, and stands around while looking in the distance. Inside the building, the president asks, "Where is Hajin?" and Suho replies that he was a bit difficult to approach. Yoon Ha confirms with Horak that he used his gift earlier, which leaves him nervous and speechless. Yoon Ha is surprised that a mere sharpshooter was able to dodge the attack of a martial arts gift, and questions on who is calling who suspicious now. Suddenly she gets a message from Yoon Hyun, asking Yoon Ha if he can see her in the study room before the club meeting tomorrow. Yoon Ha replies back, "Sure." And we see Hyun is covered in blood, while smiling looking at her text. Fast forward to next day, Hajin narrates that he understands why people say you should keep yourself busy in moments of melancholy, exercising, hunting, and investing in stocks as usual does not give him much time to think because of fatigue. But he wonders what is up with Suho and the class president, while thinking to not bother him and that he is fine. Hajin wonders what the hell is he doing with his own characters. He should really stop doing useless stuff and think about getting back home. Suddenly Naeun arrives, and Hajin asks her if it's okay for to come to school already, and she replies, there is nothing to do for her at home either ways. Suho gives her his hand to grab onto, but she tells him that she can move on her own, and Shin gets angry about Suho touching her. Seeing Shin gets angry for Naeun, Yoon-ha also gets pissed. Now the instructor arrives and tells everyone to take their seats. He then informs them that midterms are only a week away now. Practical exams will begin as soon as the written exams are done, and the practical will be assessed based on 2 categories. Duels between trainees, and monster battles against a phantom beast a mage will summon. Both categories will be far more difficult than regular lessons, and hence they should devote themselves to it. Hajin notes that written exam will be easy, but the problem is duels. Duels involve using one of the 3 nomination tickets a trainee is given, which allows one to nominate a trainee they wish to duel. It may seem like an opportunity for high-ranking trainees to nominate mediocre trainees to obtain tons of points, but a countermeasure is placed by Cube to prevent it, which is compensation point system. For example, even if the rank 1 trainee wins against the lowest rank trainee, the amount of points they earn changes based on the rank difference, and also the rank 1 trainee receives negative points. But, of course, there are some people who completely ignore this system and use their nomination tickets on people they don't like so they can beat the crap out of them. And there is also one more thing which is bothering Hajin, which is the fact that Rachel is sitting too close to him. Rachel, she does not even talk to Hajin, yet keeps hanging around him. She always used to study alone at the back. He wonders what is she doing and if she is peeking at his notes. We see Hajin writing 2 names on his notebook. Rachel gets confused on what is it, and Hajin thinks that these are his parents' name. Now Hyun messages Yoon-ha that he is in the study room. And we see Yoon-ha arriving there. As she enters the room, Hyun greets her with a smile on his face. She says that it looks like other club members are not here, and he replies that they will be here as well. Suddenly she notices a scented candle, and Hyun tells her that it's good for enhancing focus, since they are going to be studying later after all. He also tells Yoon-ha that he heard she joined the demonic human search team, and that he is a second-year representative there. And they are making no progress at all, and asks if Yoon-ha's group found anything yet, a list of suspect for example, and she replies, not yet. But she does tell him that there was one person who said something stupid. He asks her what did he say, and we see Yoon-ha is falling under his spell and wonders what is happening. She answers that he said, you are a demonic human, as she feels her mind to be at peace. And that he used some sort of psychological magic. Hearing that, Hyun asks if he had any evidence. Right as she is about to say, of course not, she realizes something. Hearing the word, evidence, gets her thinking something, and Hyun tries to clarify that he misspoke. He meant to ask if he was basing it on anything. Yoon-ha gets suspicious and readies her weapon while telling him that innocent people don't ask for evidence when they are accused of crime. She takes out her whip and asks him for his true identity. Suddenly a black aura starts to surround him as he stares at her while saying that there is still time for her turn. Now at Cube's second-year room, we see Yoon-ha wakes up and is all tied up in a chair. Looking at her surrounding, she notes that it's the second-year dorm and realizes that it's Hyun's doing. She finally realizes that Yoon-hyun is indeed the culprit of all the missing cases, a demonic human, and Hajin was not spouting bullshit. She tries to calm herself down and tries to somehow request for help, though she struggles to do that, while prays for anyone to save her. But Hyun notices and catches her, telling her that she shouldn't do that. Suddenly Hajin's watch starts blinking as he gets a message from Yoon-ha. Seeing her message, he gets confused and wonders what does it mean. Hyun takes away Yoon-ha's smartwatch and tells her that there is no way any of her friend will understand a gibberish text in the middle of the night. He notes that she has messaged Hajin and asks if this is the quick-witted person who suspected him to be a demonic human. He would kill him later as well. Yoon-ha yells at him that if he seriously thinks he can get away after doing all of this, the search team have probably noticed already and is making a move. Hyun replies that it does not matter, he is going to leave Cube as soon as it's over, as he destroys Yoon-ha's smartwatch. Yoon-ha gets angry hearing that, and Hyun gets close to her and tells her that he loves that expression. However, Lady Lilith wants to see her face dyed with fear. Back to Hajin, who who wonders if she has sent her this accidentally. He starts to think on what could it mean, and it turns out to be initials for the word save in Korean. Hajin quickly takes out his book of truth and asks for Yoonha's location. And upon seeing that, he is left shocked. We see Yoonha is getting brainwashed, as the voice speaks inside her head that she has been lonely for long enough. He tries to make it as if he knows that feeling as well, though he notices her expression and is left surprised. He calls her willpower strong, and he cannot believe that she still has not been brainwashed after all this, even though all she has to do is let her mind go at once. He tells her to not be afraid, as Lady Lilith have given him permission just for today. And she wants her as well. We see her again struggling to free herself, and Hyun tells her that it's no use, even if she managed to loosen it, as there is no way to run in the face of Lady Lilith's magic power. But before he is finished speaking, he gets shot right in his head. Blood starts spilling everywhere, and Yoonha is shocked upon seeing it. Hyun starts screaming in pain, and Yoonha hears Hajin's voice, telling her to look how she ended up after doubting someone she should have trusted. Hyun angrily asks Hajin for his identity, and he tells him to forget about recovering, as the bullet was specially made, so unless he gets it surgically removed. Hyun takes out his claws and attacks randomly, asking Hajin on where the hell is he. Hyun breaks all the glass windows and almost hits Yoonha, who dodges the attack. Yoonha falls over, and Hajin mocks Hyun by telling him to not waste his strength, as Hyun angrily lashes out at him, demanding to know where the hell is he. Hajin again takes a shot at him, while telling him that he is extremely far away right now. Hyun starts coughing blood and falls down. And we see Hajin is shooting from a tree from extremely far away with his Desert Eagle sniper rifle form. Hajin has Hyun on his aim, as he notes that long-range sniping is the best. Hajin tells Yoonha that he would be using all the bullets that she gave him by today, and he is sure that she will give him something even better, if she have a conscience. Hyun tries to get away, but Hajin shoots him in the back. And he starts to tremble, as Hajin has his aim on him. Hajin puts his weapon down for a moment and tells Yoonha that he saw something that he should not have, and asks if she is alright, to which she replies, she is. Hajin tells her to take a nap, as the search team will be there soon, to which she complies with by saying, okay. And she falls asleep, while giving Hajin a heartfelt thank you. Fast forward, Yoonha is waking up in the hospital. We see Suho is sitting beside her, and she asks him on what is he doing here. He asks her if she is hurting anywhere. The doctor told them that there is nothing wrong with her body. She freaks out and gets up, and asks Suho again on what is he doing here. He replies that they were taking turns nursing her, he, Naeun, Jonghak, Horak, and she asks, why? Suho replies that it's because they are partially responsible for this situation. They should have taken more care as members of the same search team, but they were too focused on something else. And Suho apologizes to her for that. She tells Suho that he probably gets told a lot by others that he is stubborn, hearing which confuses him. Seeing him, Yoonha thinks that at first she thought Suho was only a talented guy in the first place, but perhaps she misunderstood. And from misunderstanding, she remembers about her argument with Hajin. She asks Suho if that person came. Suho asks, who? She suddenly turns away from the question and says, never mind. Yoonha then starts to simply stare at the blue sky. We see Yoonha messaging Hajin with a thanks and that she will repay him. And with this all, Hajin gains a tons of SP, along with a mastery increase of his Deadeye skill. Hajin notes that this is the most SP he has gained from a single action, but the reward of taking care of one of the main arc is bound to be amazing. It's not much of a bonus, since he had to make few investments in a few things to snipe, but this much is good enough since he managed to save Yoonha. Suddenly Park Soo-hyo comes and calls out to Hajin, and tells him that he was surprised when he got a sudden call from him and asks if something is wrong. Soo-hyo quickly kneels in front of Hajin, thinking that he called him to cancel the contract and begs him reconsider, and Hajin tells him that it's nothing like that. He shows him a briefcase and tells him that he wants to invest in SH Entertainment. Hearing which, Soo-hyo is left confused and too shocked to think anything. The ginseng root that he had put up on Violet Banquet came back as a whopping 400 million won return. He used 250 million from that to invest in Pack Horse Masters, and invested the remaining 150 million in SH Entertainment. As the growth potential of SH Entertainment is just as certain as Pack Horse Masters. Seeing Hajin's investment, he is bricked up and says that he cannot take such a large sum. But Hajin tells him to take it, and to buy him a magic pouch and HUV with it as well. He asks Soo-hyuk for his age and he replies that he is 29, hence Hajin tells him to speak causally with him, since he is older, but Soo-hyuk freaks out, as he cannot talk like that to an investor, but Hajin tells him he will cancel it if he acts like that. Hearing which, he changes instantly to a more casual tone. While walking out, Hajin asks him to stop by a convenience store first. Hajin starts scratching a lottery ticket and Soo-hyuk asks him, why is he doing it all of a sudden? He replies, he cannot do so without a guardian. As the ticket is scratched, Soo-hyuk asks how much is it, and Hajin casually replies that it's 20 million won. Hearing which, Soo-hyuk completely freaks out. He gives that to Soo-hyuk as well, telling him to invest it and send him an edited copy of the contract. He tightly tucks the ticket with himself, and Hajin asks him on what is he doing, and he replies that someone might steal it. Now at evening, in some abandoned warehouse, we see a little kid is rising from what seems like shadow. He tells his boss that they have started to make their move. Packhorse Masters has been listed, and asks on what should they do next. She tells him that they will just take the item and leave the rest. But the kid replies that there is also a weird thing happening. Someone has been buying Packhorse Masters stocks intensively. At first he invested 3 million, 10 million, and then he suddenly invested 250 million, and doubts that it's too much money for someone to invest in a guild without even a guild page for good fortune. The boss tells him to forget about it and just focus on what they need to do. She asks if there is anything else to report, and he replies that a few interesting pages have opened on Violet Banquet, and asks if she wants to take a look. Relic Search Party, Jonggak Bozintang, Truth Agency, and his senses says that Truth Agency smells fishy. He asks if he should put a request there, maybe they would find that person for them. Hearing that, she gets angry and calls out his name, Droon. He gets scared and replies that he was simply joking, and also tells her that the Cube's midterms are also starting from tomorrow. The hot topics there are, Rank 1 and 2, Kim Soo-ho and Shin Jong-hak. A few members are planning on infiltrating, and asks his boss if she is going to participate as well. To which she replies that she will. And we finally get a full look at our new mommy waifu. She hopes that there she would find someone interesting and useful. Fast forward, as the time flew by, and the practical portion week of the midterms had begun. We see a happy and excited Hazuki, who is meeting her parents. During the practical week, Cube opens up to hero employment agencies like guilds and the association, as well as the families of the trainees. The huge crowd from all over the world is like that of a festival. We see the reporters reporting on the festival, and some guilds preparing to send offers to all of the top trainees. We see Hajin using a drone and noting that there is not much action as of yet. As such, he decides to wait for a little bit longer. We also learn that he got these drones from Soo-hyuk, and since he has set them up all over Cube, it will increase the probability of finding intruders. Suddenly, he bumps shoulder with someone and turns back to apologize. And we see it's the boss of Chameleon Troop. Hajin is completely shocked and almost forgot about it. That this person will also come for the practical exam. He keeps staring at her and realizes his mistake that he locked eyes with her for too long. He tries to think of something to say, as to not sound suspicious. And he ends up calling her so pretty, which leaves both of them speechless and with a deadpan expression. She simply ignores his comment and walks away. She contacts Droon and he asks her on what is it. She tells him that the one she passed by earlier, he saw her through the perception blocking item. And such, she tells him to investigate Hajin. Hajin remembers that it's not only heroes who are here to scout trainees, but the Chameleon Troop is also here at Cube. Their objective is to scout either Kim Soo-ho or Shin Jong-hak, but since Soo-ho doesn't fit in with their belief, he is disqualified, and they start paying attention to Shin Jong-hak. That is how the story goes. Their infiltration itself should not cause much of an issue, but if the story changes and they start fighting the exam site security heroes, it won't end with just 1 or 2 people dying. Suddenly someone shouts, "Nothing at all," and everyone takes notice. We see someone saying that he does not see anyone suspicious, and the girl tells him to stop goofing around and search properly, since it would be really bad for them if someone got past Cube security during practical week. And he replies then they just have to eliminate them before they become a problem, and we learn they are high-grade heroes. Oh Jung-hyuk, rank 1737, 6th grade hero, and Seo Youngji, rank 2000, 7th grade hero. As they are moving around arguing, and Jung Hyuk telling her to go eat with pizza, we see a mysterious person strolling behind them. He comments about Hajin, and is surprised that he saw through the perception-blocking feature of Siren's necklace, and saw their boss. And with this, he is finally getting interested, as all he see here are weaklings, to the point that he is about to die of boredom. He asks Drunon what kind of guy is he, as he would like to go first and brawl with him, hearing which, Drun thinks that he is such a muscle brain. He tells him to stay put, they can confirm whether he shows promise or not, even if they don't do anything. Since they are going to start it soon, the duels. At the arena, the announcer says that the first match is about to start, and the first duel is one in which a nomination ticket was used. We see Hajin walking in the arena, as someone calls out to him. It's Yoon Ha, who asks Hajin if he is heading to the arena. He replies that he is first up, and hearing which, Yoon Ha calls out to her assistant. She gives him 100 top-grade bullets. Though he cannot use them during the test, but he can use them however he likes, and he can let her know if he needs more. And for his information, she is not trying to call it even with something like this for saving her life. And tells him to think of it as a gift. She also informs him that she has not told them about him providing support during the demonic human incident, despite them keep asking, and Hajin requests her to keep hiding that, as he thinks that it would get complicated if it gets out that he was the one who shot Yoon Hyun. Yoon Ha says that she understands that he is hiding his strength for some reason, but it would be difficult for him to pass the practical exam like that, hearing which confuses Hajin. She asks him if he knows who is he up against. Now we switch scene to the waiting room, and see someone exercising. And it's Kim Horak, who says that he will make sure to crush Hajin. Back at Chameleon Troop, Drun tells his captain that he didn't found anything, he used to be in an orphanage, and does not have any parents or relatives, got admitted into the military academy at the age of 6 because they saw something special when they checked the orphanage. He was a low intermediate rank student, did not do anything special that led to any special attention, and entered Cube. And he also has a $300 million debt, that is all there is. Hearing all this, she wonders then how could Hajin see her past a perception blocking item and notice her. Drun replies that he didn't know either, and the big guy arrives from the bushes, finding his captain. He tells her that it's been a while, and he is introduced as Cheek Jung-young. She tells him that he is late, and asks if he was wandering anywhere else, and he replies that he simply followed the instructions to search for talents and came here. She asks if he found anything, and he replies, nothing, all of them are weaklings who'd get destroyed with a flick on their head. Drun replies, that is expected, but ask if there is any cadet who left any impression, and Jung-young replies that he only saw the second-year first-grade students, but there was not anyone. Drun informs him that he heard the first-year students this year are exceptional, so he should check out them instead, and a first-year, Kim Hajin is about to start his battle. Hearing which, he remembers that he is the guy who saw their captain through perception blocking item. Now at Practical Cube Arena midterm. We see those two heroes eating pizza and watching the battles, while again arguing. Jung Hyuk tells Youngji that he has gotten much better, and his son likes it, hearing which she smiles while saying is that so. Suddenly she notices Jungyeon sitting across them and wonders what is up with him, as he has been looking over towards them and smiling. Jung Hyuk replies that perhaps he is a fan of theirs. As Horak enters the arena, Jung Hyuk notes that it's about to start, noting that he might not be in top 6, but he is still pretty decent. Sung Ji notes that his opponent is a rank number 934, Kim Ha-jin. She wonders if it's really like this, and Jung Hyuk asks if she read the notes. Ha-jin tells Hoak that he is looking a little fierce and tells him to take it easy, which pisses him off. He notes that his specialty is using the mana within his body to manifest an invisible layer of enhanced protection energy. Not only does training ammo do nothing to him, they should be glad if his opponent isn't broken into 2 pieces, and his opponent must not allow him to get near. The announcer says that the first match will now start, and Hoak immediately rushes towards Ha-jin. And as he is rushing towards him, Ha-jin activates his bullet time. He moves away in bullet time to dodge, and has also increased the amount of time he can stay in it, up to a minute. And notes he can catch up to his movements, but Horak punches the ground and we see Ha-jin gets up in the air, while wondering if he is a tank or something. Horak chases Ha-jin through the arena, and while running, Ha-jin points his weapon towards him. Ha-jin shoots at him, and Horak smirks, while thinking that if Ha-jin really thought his enhanced protection energy was that weak, saying that he can easily deflect bullet like this, and right as he is punching it, he gets a heavy hit right on his shoulder due to it. We see him get nervous and everyone else is shocked as well. About the fact that the bullet pierced through the enhanced protection energy. Everyone in the stand starts commenting and wondering who is Hajin to be able to pierce through enhanced protection energy like that, as it should not be possible with a mere bullet. Hearing this all, Horak gets agitated, but Hajin shoots at him again and he tries to defend against it. Hajin thinks that if Horak thought he could deflect these bullets, it's unfortunate for him, because these bullets have been infused with the mana of stigma, and also have anti-demon powers. Seeing this, everyone starts to cheer for Hajin. Horak gets angry and slams on the ground, lifting up the whole arena. But Hajin is able to dodge and jumps backwards. Hajin suddenly throws a knife towards him while telling him to be careful. Horak dodges and wonders if there is some kind of device on the knife. But Hajin points the weapon towards him and shoots at him, calling the knife just a fake. Horak lies on the ground, and Hajin moves towards him with his weapon pointed at him. Everyone is shocked, and we see Hajin is about to pull the trigger. Horak is nervous about being defeated, and everyone is looking in anticipation and shock as well. Jung-hyuk wonders if he ran out of bullets, and Song-ji comments that Horak looks exhausted as well. We see Horak trying to stand up, and Hajin stares at him with a blank face. Suddenly he smiles and drops his weapon, while surrendering. Everyone is left shocked and speechless upon seeing that. The announcer announces the end of duel and the winner, Kim Horak, who is incredibly pissed at Hajin for surrendering like that. Everyone comments about Horak being fine after getting hit by perhaps a real bullet, and wonders if it's due to him being a fighter. Jung-hyuk asks for Song-ji's impression. And she replies, Kim Hajin did well and Kim Horak was premature. He should have dominated Hajin slowly in combat, rather than rushing in with enhanced protection energy, since it has a heavy cost, but he tried to do too much too quickly and was shamed for no reason. But either ways, she found Hajin to be more interesting. His unimaginable firing speed and dynamic visual acuity that can keep track of a martial artist's gift, but at a certain point, when Horak began to slow down, Kim Hajin also slowed down, which makes her wonder if he has a special gift that increases his physical ability. And the fact he was also using bullets infused with mana. Jung-hyuk asks that if she is saying that the density of his compressed magic bullets was so strong that it broke enhanced protection energy, that too as a cadet. She replies that they don't know what kind of gift Cadet Kim Hajin has. His potential has a high chance of being the greatest of all time, as we see everyone around is shocked from this battle and many guilds and association are contacting their president about it. And such, Song-ji decides to remember his name, and Jung-hyuk comments that the next duel is about to start as well. Switching to Jung-yeon, he says that he didn't like Kim Hajin, as he is a small guy who just shoots from far away, and wonders why did their captain told him to check him out. Droon asks if he didn't see it himself. He has the power of demon slaying. Jung-yeon replies that it does not have anything to do with being strong. Droon replies that he just dislikes him because he is a ranged fighter, which Jung-yeon chuckles and agrees with. Fatal effort, fatal murderous intent to pierce death into others' heart. You need these to have a duel. Droon tells him to go look for his cadets with fatal whatever, and asks if he saw Suho or Jong-hak, to which he replies that they both look pretty good. Shin Jong-hak's destructive style of aiming for enemies' vitals immediately without any information is impressive. And he liked how he caused a ruckus for the cowards who only like defending. Droon replies that if Jung-yeon likes him, he cannot expect much from his personality. And as for Kim Suho, he calls him unique. Droon asks on what does he mean by that. And he explains that it was just like they heard. He used a sword dance type of swordsmanship. He'd clearly trained and worked on those movements for a long time. But it feels like he is hiding his true colors. Droon asks if that means the number 1 in Cube is different and he replies that he doesn't know. Neither of them are at a level where he wants to fight them immediately. Droon asks, what about Kim Hajin? And Jung-yeon gets pissed asking if he is really including that guy as well. He replies, of course, since the power of demon slaying is what their captain is looking for. But once again Jung-yeon tells him that he doesn't like him. Suddenly from behind the bushes, we see a security guard comes asking if anyone is there. He tells Jung-yeon to go away immediately as the forest is off limits, which pisses him off. He again tells him to leave, and Jung-yeon calls it annoying. As the guard gets close, Jung-yeon flicks him on his forehead, causing a sound and killing him. Droon asks if he broke him, and he replies, he did. Droon then tells him that he is dead to the captain now, though Jung-yeon tells him to keep this a secret. Now at evening, we see their captain standing on top of a building, looking over the city. We get a flashback, on a heavy rainy day, At someone's grave, we hear someone say, they will find the traitor no matter what. And it's the captain who says that she will find them and get their revenge while crying. Back to the present, she grips the railing and contacts Droon, and orders him to check Kim Suho, Shin Jonghak and Kim Hajin, and he asks on what is the order. She replies that the power of demon slaying can break demonic bodies, hence, make Kim Hajin the highest priority. Droon asks if it's really okay, since he does not have much information about him, and she replies that it does not matter, as she will be meeting him personally tomorrow. Now fast forward to the second day of midterms, at the first arena. People in the stands notice the scouter for the Blade Guild, and the Holy Grace of God Guild as well as the audience level, which is completely different from the first day, because today's duels are Rank 1, Kim Suho vs Rank 8, Yohei, and Rank 3, Rachel vs Rank 4, Chai Naeun. People are excited since it's duel between cube rankers, and the first match between Naeun and Rachel. Hajin thanks the extras for the explanation. And in today's match, Naeun gets defeated by Rachel, because it's impossible to beat Rachel with a bow that isn't even a vocational gift. Finally, the announcer announces the commencement of the battle of the first year's 8th match. Naeun confidently tells Rachel that they will be exchanging their ranks today and points her bow towards the sky. She shoots her arrow up in the sky, and it creates a volley of arrows that comes raining down on Rachel. But Rachel dodges most of them, and deflects one of them which was coming straight towards her. Naeun is surprised seeing her attack completely shut down like that, and Rachel rushes towards her. Meanwhile in the stands, we see the boss approaching Hajin. She comes and sits beside him, and they both stare at each other for a moment. A black-level criminal wanted by the Hero Association, the captain of the infamous Chameleon Troupe, a strong individual who hid herself with countless names and identities. And in this world, only Hajin knows her real name. But suddenly she gets splashed on by a soda can from someone who accidentally spilled it on her. Hajin gets scared and starts sweating. We see the result of Rachel and Naeun's match. And the boss cleans herself with a handkerchief given by Hajin, for which she thanks him. She tells Hajin that she saw his duel with Kim Horak, and shows him her card while saying that she is this type of person, and asks if the talent he showed in the duel was that his gift. Hajin is surprised seeing her contact information. He notices that it's not her real name, and perhaps one of her countless identities. He asks her if she came from the guild and that early contact with cadets are illegal. She tries to take it back, but Hajin holds it tight while saying that he is not saying that he won't take it. She tells Hajin that while she cannot give him any details yet, it won't be anything bad for him, and leaves while telling him to contact her sometime. Hajin thinks that there should not be any reason for the captain to be looking for him right now, and wonders why did she came to him. Meanwhile, Kim Suho's match also concludes with him being the winner. At the end of the day, everyone starts commenting about the duels, and how it's the first time a Korean prospect lost to a foreigner in Naeun vs Rachel. Hajin calls back his drone, and wonders if he got something on his surveillance drone, and decides to check it once he is back at the dorms. Suddenly he hears noises of someone sobbing. And it's Naeun who is crying while hiding in a bush. Hajin remembers this event, the story in which Suho comforts Naeun because she is crying tears of defeat. From this event, Naeun starts to feel attracted to Kim Suho. You can work harder, let's work hard together. Meaningless words like this won't be helpful to Naeun at all right now. Sometimes, you need to give up instead of working harder, but there is no give up to Kim Suho. He does not ask anyone to give up, and neither does he. Naeun probably won't give up on her bow because of Kim Suho. And suddenly Hajin gets an idea, and we see Naeun receives a message on her smartwatch. It's from Hajin, who tells her that he has watched her duel, and Naeun wonders on what is up with this bitch. She gets surprised upon seeing more of his messages, telling her that a sword fits her better than a bow, like as he said before, and that he recommends her to change courses. Seeing which, she gets a deadpan expression to her face. We see Suho coming out of the arena and finding Naeun, asking on where did she went, and looks inside the bushes telling her that he has been looking for her for a while. But Naeun is super pissed off, as she screams that she will kill Hajin, and like that, the first semester midterms practical subject, duel completes. Back in the dorms, we see Hajin watching the footage when Jungyun attacked the guard, calling it brutal. He wonders if he is from the Chameleon Troupe as well. Killing people without any hesitation, killing just because he feels like it, for his own pleasure. There are people who are capable of doing such things in this world. Something that's made way easier to achieve with science and magic, there are also demi-humans behind the scenes, who are not involved with laws and rules. They are humans but yet deny heroes. They cannot be called mere lawbreakers because they possess transcendental strength. Just like the heroes, they are villains. Hajin cannot simply focus on the villains that appear in the existing novel story, based on the co-author. In the novel that's been changed, they don't know when or what kind of villain will appear. Now at midterms practical, Monster Battle Examination Center. One of the instructor introduces herself as Jin Juwo, the mage in charge of supervising their exams. Before they start, she will explain what the exam will be like. The place we see is the place where cadets will be participating in the monster battle. They will be fighting monsters summoned by a mage. The test will be way more dangerous than any training they have gone so far, since the summoned monsters will have the same attack tendencies as actual monsters, but will not disappear immediately, even if the mage cancels the summon. And their life might be in danger if they refuse to yield out of pride, hence she advises them to surrender quickly if they feel the test is too hard for them. The evaluation will be done based on how long they can last and how calmly they react, and with all that, she wishes them luck in the exam. She first off calls for people from Team 1 to step into the exam hall. As the Team 1 gets into it, the instructor tells everyone to observe them quietly. If it is not their turn, they are to analyze other cadets' battle, and think about how they fought the monster and whether they could have done better, analyze them, and if there is a better way, they can express their views. Right as she is about to start the battle, she hears some sounds. Hearing which, she tells everyone to turn off their smartwatch, and she also informs them that this report will also affect their writing test, so they have to be mindful about writing the report. With that all, she finally commences the exam. The mage summons the first monster, for Team 1, Cadet Hazuki, and it's her advanced Ghoul. The ghoul attacks Hazuki and she is barely able to defend against it. And other students who are observing, start taking notes. Now Team 2, Cadet Lee Younghan, and he is up against a big serpent, on which he uses magic liberation and lands a clean strike. After that a rain of arrows, belonging to Naeun, who also finishes her exam pretty easily. And like that other cadets, like Yo Yoon Ha also finishes up their exam quickly. Finally it's time for Team 10, Cadet Kim Hajin, and the summoned monster is Crom Wolf. Hajin quickly shoots the monster and hides behind a rock for cover, and thinks that if it goes in like this, it should end without an issue. But suddenly everyone hears a loud sound and wonders what is it. Hajin also wonders what is happening this time. We see Jung Hyuk, who is patrolling, asks if something happened in the exam hall upon listening to some noises. Song Ji gets angry and tells him to focus on standing guard, as one of the security trooper that was patrolling the cube got killed yesterday. Hence they are in the state of extreme emergency right now, so he should stay focused. Jung Hyuk replies he will and asks if they located the epicenter of the tremor just now, and she replies that they are guessing it's the ocean floor in his direction, but they don't know the exact location yet, and Jung Hyuk hopes that it's nothing serious. Suddenly he hears some footsteps in the bushes and quickly turns around. And we see it's Jung Yun, who says, "There is someone here." Upon noticing Jung Hyuk, Jung Hyuk tells him that this area is off limits and asks if he lost his way, but Jung Yun asks him on why is here then, and Jung Hyuk replies that he is not an outsider. Jung Hyun starts preparing for battle, telling him that it's enough talking, and that he should stop getting in his way and get lost, if he doesn't want to get beaten up. Suddenly they both feel a huge tremor as the water starts rising up. We see a huge monster rising up from a water tornado as they wonder what is it. Back in the exam center, an announcement is made for every cadet to evacuate the building as the exam has stopped due to something happening outside the building. The instructor tells Hajin to stop the test and evacuate as well, while Hajin wonders on what the hell is going on. And outside the building, we see a mysterious figure looking towards it. Back at the training center, Hajin notes that the summons are not getting cancelled. He tries to call out to someone up, but no one answers, and Hajin realizes that something is wrong, and wonders if there were demonic humans within the dispatched mages. It's not just Juwo, since the story change alert didn't appear, and there weren't any changes detected in the people within this exam building. Which can mean only one thing, as Hajin realized that. We see someone arriving and meeting Rachel, telling her long time no see. And seeing that person, Rachel is surprised, and Hajin notes that it's definitely possible, since there are tons of extras like Kim Chundong that have never been mentioned in the novel. And the character is introduced as Sir Lancaster, and Hajin realizes that this is a story that he doesn't know about. Rachel asks Sir Lancaster on where has he been since the London incident that occurred 5 years ago. Not to mention that look of his as well. Seeing which, Rachel realized that he has sold his soul. She asks on why would someone like him, who was a former Imperial captain, do that, and Lancaster replies that she is mistaken about something. It's that he didn't sold his soul, a new lord simply took over his soul, a soul that was betrayed by the very country he devoted his whole life to. Hearing his answer, Rachel draws her sword, saying that it's meaningless to talk any further, and that she will be apprehending him. Rachel jumps towards him to attack. But her sword goes through his body, which surprises her. Lancaster tells Rachel that it's unfortunate, but his real body is not here, appearing in front of her is just him having some fun. It's so chaotic right now outside, that they won't care about this place, because of the invasion of monsters including the Amugi. The exam building is in a pandemonium right now, no one will be able to come to her help. He asks if isn't this situation quite different from the usual United Kingdom that only treats the imperial family as the top protection priorities, while tens of hundreds of others die without anyone paying attention to them. And we see a flashback of Lancaster holding someone and crying, calling that place darned. He notices some sound and tells her that he would love to talk to her more, but his time is up, and leaves while telling her goodbye, as Rachel shouts his name to try and stop him. And from the shadows, we see some kind of assassin comes out. It immediately attacks Rachel, who is barely able to defend against it. She notices that his attacks are quite powerful and she gets pushed back by his flurry of attacks. She is unable to block his attacks and starts getting damaged all over her body, and due to it she realizes that she cannot keep fighting head-on and have to take a risk and aim for an opening. But he attacks on her hand, which makes her sword go flying from her hand. We see her left unable to defend herself and on the ground. She uses a mana thread to try and pull her sword towards her. Right as the assassin is about to attack, her sword comes flying towards him. But suddenly, the wall behind them breaks, leaving Rachel surprised. And from that Hajin appears, as the assassin watches over. The assassin immediately rushes over to him to attack. But Hajin transforms his Desert Eagle into a shotgun and shoots at the assassin. After that shot, we see the assassin completely disappear, which makes him wonder if it was over in one shot, though that is to be expected since it's an attack that consumes 250 SP. Seeing him, Rachel realizes that it's someone from his class. Hajin comes towards her and gives her his hand while asking if she is okay. Though she obviously does not look okay, seeing which Hajin offers some bandages. We see him applying bandages and cleaning up blood, while saying that if he was any more late, she would not have been able to wield a sword again. Noting the blood, he suddenly realizes something, that he has obtained a cube ranker's blood unexpectedly. Rachel thanks him for it, and he replies to not worry about it. Suddenly the instructor arrives and asks them too if they are hurt anywhere. They tell them that they are coming to save them right now. One of their assistant tells the head mage that there are 2 cadets in the exam hall next to this place who are severely injured, which prompts her to ask on who on earth could do such a thing. Now back to Jung Hyuk, Sung-ji comes running towards him as he's sitting by the ocean. She asks him on what happened, and heard that an Emugi appeared, and he replies that she sure took a lot of time in getting here, it has already been chased away. She asks if it was him who did that, and he replies, it was an intruder who did. Though he don't know who stabbed it, but the Emugi was furious, and yet, he was able to use brute force to chase it away. He was definitely incredibly strong. Sung-ji replies she cannot believe that, and Jung Hyuk says that he does not believe it either, but it's highly likely that he is the suspect in the police station murder, and hence they should put out a search for him. On top of the appearance of an unknown intruder, the appearance of a high-ranking monster, which seems like the midterms are a bust this year. This time it would be tough for Cube executives to avoid being reprimanded for this incident. To sum things up, the Cube monster incident that took place yesterday became a well-known issue all over the world, and the midterms were postponed. Because a lot of manpower was used to clarify things for public and in repairs, after that both the test and classes were cancelled. And cadets were able to enjoy an unprecedented 10-day holiday. Seeing them excited, the instructor scolds them on how can they be like this when their cadets injured this time, they should stop thinking unnecessary thoughts and go back to their dorms. Hajin looks towards his laptop and sees the story change message finally appeared. It's about Alex Lancaster, which Hajin remembers, was one of the characters related to the UK which he created. His objective was to conquer the UK nation. Hajin notes that a pretty tough villain has become stronger than he was in the original story and has appeared sooner as well. If he knew that this would happen, he would made a greater number of kind characters. Though it's not necessarily all bad, he did manage to obtain Rachel's blood. Suddenly someone hits him with their elbow on his head. And it's Naeun, who is looking pissed at Hajin. She makes fun of him and asks on what is he looking at, which pisses him off. The president notes that they are again fighting, but Suho says that they are looking friendlier than before. Now we see Naeun going to her dorms. While entering, she calls Hajin a loser for picking a fight if he is not gonna be able to do anything. Suddenly she gets a notification on her smartwatch. And it's the report from the previous test. She opens it up to check what's in it, and notes that Suho has written in it as well. Suho's report praised her, while saying that it looked like she was worried about a lot of things. It felt like several internal and external factors chipped away at her self-confidence. However, she is an exceptionally talented cadet, an unwavering kill with the Chen Lima as an opponent. With hard work and exceptional talent, she was able to show perfect result. Someone else might think she is not talented, but what she lacks is not talent, but confidence in herself. If she continues to advance the same way she believed in herself today, he is sure that she will be able to become the best hero. Sincerely, from Appraisal Cadet, Kim Suho. Seeing his message, she calls it embarrassing and starts to blush a little, while thinking that no matter what anyone say, she will be using bow. She gets another appraisal, this time from an anonymous person, though she don't know who it is, but it's a really long appraisal, which she gets excited to read. But as she starts reading, she starts to get more and more pissed. Suddenly she screams loudly, which is heard outside of her dorm and scares Hazuki. Naeun yells loudly that she won't forgive whoever wrote this shit. Back at Hajin's dorm room, he feeds the seed the blood that he got from Rachel. He notes that the seed just ate it like that. The Evangel seed that he got from Mount Gari, if blood is fed to it, Evangel the witch would be born from it. And since this blood is from Rachel, a kind person, hopefully nothing like a villain will appear, and he starts caressing it, telling it to grow up quickly and help him out. Suddenly, his wrist starts glowing, and he starts to get scared. As he notices that a second stigma is getting inscribed onto him, due to which we can hear his screams. Now next day in the morning, we see him sitting in a car and going somewhere in the city. Soo-hyuk asks him on what is wrong, and he replies, it's nothing, he is just a little tired today. But more importantly, he asks Soo-hyuk if the business is going well, and he replies that since he has an SUV now, doing sales is easier and there are more customers as well. He also feels a lot more at ease compared to going around in the field by walking like he did previously. He starts crying and thanks Hajin for it, seeing which Hajin thinks to change the topic quickly. As they arrive, they notice there are a lot of people gathered at the entrance, and wonders if they are from the guild. People around are surprised to see those people. And we see they are the essence of the straight guild members. Hajin also notices Yoon-ha, and wonders if she is here to do a field exploration with her guild members. As Yoon-ha turns around, she also notices Hajin. She knocks on his window and asks, what is he going to the field for? And he replies, it's to earn money. She asks if he is by himself, and he replies, he is with his agent Park Soo-hyuk, who is surprised upon knowing that Hajin has affiliations with Essence of the Straight.
Right now your brain's still open, still listening. That means I have one last chance to tell you something important. You didn't find this video by accident. Something pulled you here, so trust that instinct. Like the video, it locks in the value. Comment something, anything. It gives your mind closure. And hit subscribe, or don't. But if you don't understand this, you'll forget this moment, this channel, and you'll search for something like it again, but you won't find it. This is where that search ends. So act before your window closes.